I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay that, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. For the rock star in this life, I'll live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. For the rock star in this life, I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want. By thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Hollow Sports All plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hollow Sports All plays.
Welcome to the College Breakdown Show. I am Ray Cruz, and we're going to be bringing in my co-host, Dre Montez here. How you doing, Dre? Good morning.
Boss, what's going on? What's going on? Good morning to you.
Not much, man. How you doing?
Oh, better than good. College football Saturday. What could be better, right?
Yeah, it could have been a little bit better for you last weekend, though.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
You know.
Showing up.
Yeah, I had to make fun of you yesterday, man. That was my fault, my bad. I didn't want to put you in the spot in the vicinity.
Okay.
You know. Now, let's start the show up a little bit different here. I want to talk to you about the status of Anthony Richardson with his pick six that turned that football game around to Kentucky's favor. What was the mentality on that, and was he duped by the corner, or did he just misread the play? Because it looked like he underthrown his receiver a little bit too on that play.
I think we really found out for sure that Anthony Richardson does not have any quarterbacking skills whatsoever. It's just been all going off instinct. It's been going off of instinct. That's it. There is no football IQ there. There is no, hey, my bad, I can fix that. No, we saw what the real issue is. There is no way to rebound from that. There's too much work to be done as an SEC quarterback. You making mistakes like that. That's something you make your junior year in high school. He clearly showed last week he is not a quarterback. He is a option person that throws the ball sometimes. I don't want to call him a quarterback. He proved to me last week he is not a quarterback. I saw everything I need to see about from 15 last weekend. There's no more comparison to Cam Newton. There's no more comparison to Major Harris. Anthony Richardson is who he is and what he showed us last week. He is not ready for a quarterbacking role in the SEC. He's not ready.
Now, was the Utah game like a fool's goal, and then Florida just went back to the regular being Florida in the past?
Utah played into the trap. They fell for the okie doke. They went in there overhyped. One play here, Florida would have lost. The play he got away from on a 2-point conversion, the linebacker got lost, and so did the safety. Let's call it what it was. You look at the play in slow motion, it was a busted play from the defensive perspective. Everybody just ran and turned around. They saw a ball coming. That's what happened on that 2-point conversion. As a Florida fan, it was beautiful to see us win that game. But reality set in last week for sure. Reality set in for sure. If we win 4 games, I'm impressed. I would be highly, highly impressed if we win 4 games this year. I don't.
And then if you look at it too, they took that Utah game. They were unranked and they jumped all the way to number 12.
Yeah.
Was that a little added pressure in the game against Kentucky?
No, there was no pressure to be had. It was an SEC matchup. We were at home, but we act like we were playing away. We turned into the underdogs early in the third quarter. That was a winnable game, but coaching did not show up where it needed to. The quarterbacking coach and the offensive coordinator are definitely not on the same page. You can tell by the plays that were going in. There was confusion on what the play should be called. We saw the slot receiver line up different times, the tailback as well. They got confused on the audible calls that were coming in. So a whole lot of things to be worked on and worked out on the Florida side of the offensive ball.
Now, coming into last night's game, Florida State and LSU, they won that game last night. They came back and beat Louisville. My wife was happy. She was, ecstatic. She posted. I have never seen the girl post a score of Florida State since last year. She didn't post nothing. She didn't post nothing the game from the first game, but when they played Louisville, she calls Louisville Loserville. That's what she calls them. But she was excited last night. Yeah, so she's a Seminole fan. She is a Tebow fan, but she is a Seminole fan. So You know, that kind of made her happy when Florida lost against Kentucky. She jumped on her friends, her Florida friends, and real quick, like, but then again, you know, fair play could come around and turn around too, because Florida State didn't look too good, but that quarterback injury, and we don't know how serious that quarterback is injured. We hope he gets recovered very well here in the near future and gets back on the playing field. But the backup quarterback had some trouble at the beginning for Florida State, and then he came through last night with a big, deep pass. But Wilson was the difference in that ball game. The wide receiver Wilson.
Yeah. Louisville could have had a good shot at winning this game. They played that game real close and tight in the second and third quarter. I guess when that fourth quarter got there, the game just really got out of hand. It seemed to be confusing for Louisville. But I thought Louisville was going to, since Lamar Jackson left there, the program has been like this, but more on the W side than the L side. But it seems to me in college football, this season only, what is going on with the quarterback position in college football, where it seems to be these schools that know how to handle play calling and the quarterbacking skill set seems to be put at that position this year, where there's heads being scratched and concerned at the quarterback helm. There's no way they're making it that easy and difficult to understand the offensive play calling. Is it the fact they can't read a defense, or is the Wi-Fi out? There's something going on with the quarterback and helm in college football. It's not as crisp as it used to be this early in the year.
I agree with you. I mean, the quarterback position looked like it's going to be a little bit of temperament this year. Even Alabama's quarterback had some key moments in the ball game that he had some mislaps too. So, I mean, it's going to be – it's the start of the season, I know. But then again, they've been playing for a while. So why are all of a sudden the quarterbacks and players are not crisp this year? Is it because they lost some of their wide receiver core?
It's like a tale of two cities, man. I don't know what happened in one game in one season at Florida. I can't explain it. I don't know what happened in 1 year, in 2.5 weeks in college football at the football helm. I mean, this is usually where guys come out and try to make a name for themselves and make a statement or try to become a household name for that early consideration to be mentioned in New York conversation, that being the Heisman. But now it's just like it's been more defensive guys this early in the college football season making a name or a noise for themselves or the team or the situation.
Yeah, that's something unusual too. I mean, the defense has been – usually the offense will come around before the defense will.
Right.
And you had that big jump from week 1 to week 2. But then you have some teams that set back, like Texas A&M against Appalachian State last week. What was your thought on that ball game when you seen Jimbo Fisher lose to Appalachian State in Kyle Field?
See, the problem we discussed this last week, I think it's Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, Dabo Swinney, and I'm going to put in one more in there, maybe Chip Kelly. They all look at each other, what the other one has done either earlier in the day, earlier in that week, what player, how did they make the media that week? They're trying to outdo themselves. They're not compared to other schools and universities. They compare each other with each other, especially A&M and Bama. Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. That irks Jimbo Fisher more than life itself. And not just the fact they lost to App State. It's the fact they lost the same day that Bama could have lost and should have lost that game. But A&M failed to come out with the W. So today I think he's going to try to run up the score, put a 70 in front, or maybe an 80-point score. He's going to try to embarrass who's that they played today, Miami?
They played Miami Hurricanes, number 15 ranked team in the nation.
He's going to try to embarrass them tonight. He really is. But A&M is in a situation where the defense must play as the offense today because the offense is not really sure what's going on the side of the ball. So the defense has to be a two-headed monster today.
And then you got Stoops, who became the all-time winningest coach at Kentucky University against the Florida Gators. Though that was a big momentum day. Now let's talk about the big elephant in the room here. That's Scott Frost, who got fired early this week from Nebraska. He didn't even make it through to the fourth game. So now the situation. Now the situation comes around. There's been rumored that he's been connected with Alabama. They want Clemson to go after him and get him as an offensive coordinator. What is the next step for Scott Frost?
I need Scott Frost to listen to his wife and his dad and mom and brother and sister if he still has all those siblings and those people in his corner. I think he needs to take a step back because he has not really taken any time off from football. Even when his days leaving the NFL, he went straight into picking up an assistant coaching job. He's been going football 24/7 probably since the age of 10. Take a chill pill, relax, look at the platform. Look at what's coming in to college from the high school's perspective. Look at the advantages of coaching prep high school football or select football or going to these football university high schools, so to speak, or get with a program that really fits what you can bring to the table. The skill set that you had at UCF, the way you played football in college, the way you played NFL, the way you learn how to coach. Put all that into a blender and see what you come out with. I know he wants to get back out there because when you fail and you have a name like that and with a resume like that, you expect the winning side, the upside, the thumbs up, but it didn't go that way. And it doesn't happen that way for everybody. You know, good athletes don't always turn to good coaches. Going back to your alma mater does not always lead up to success. Sometimes, more than anything, scrutiny and scandals. I'm glad he got out before any of that BS started, but I think Scott needs to take a chill pill. But if he goes in the coaching staff with Alabama or, who did you say, Texas?
Clemson.
I think a best fit would be for him is to go to USC. Go out there and join a man out there. Go out there and join him. Shake the shit up for real. Go join him.
Also, the interim coach, Mickey Johnson, this is an audition for him to take the Hams and see what he can do in Nebraska. If he finishes the season, if he goes on a tear right now and starting a winning streak, say if they go and finish out their season and only lose the two games that Scott Frost coached and he didn't lose any, does he get the job?
It depends on what was said at the initial team meeting when he got the position as interim coach. How did he go in here? Did he talk to coaches first? Did he talk to the players first? Did he get everybody in the room? Did he pull one of them Disney movies and say, guys, how do you want to handle the rest of this season? Let me know how you want to handle the rest of this season. It's up to the players and the program on what they want to do with the rest of the year. Now, if he goes out undefeated, getting the head coaching job, considering who's out there, who they want to go after, let's look at that first. Before we get him going undefeated, getting in a big bold name, forgetting about Scott Frost. Let's slow it down a little bit and let's see who's out there. We don't want to get somebody all prettied up and we're not the one taking it to the prom. You know what I mean? We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that at all. But if he does turn this around, they get to a big bowl game, they lose, go the rest of the year undefeated, that's a story itself. But we're caught up in the past because it's Nebraska, what they have done before, whether coaches, whether players that have been there, just the history of Nebraska. It's sad to see this program in this situation. But other programs are probably like, well, it's about damn time. Now it's time for us to get some of that light shined on us. But if Nebraska can turn it around, it would be one of those big moments. But again, I want to know who's the big name out there who we haven't heard of yet, who could be possibly coming in.
Well, some of the early projection is the Urban Meyer situation. Urban Meyer has been now rumored that they're trying to get after too, to go after and see if he has any interest in this job. Is that a mistake by Nebraska going after trying to get Urban Meyer? All the reputation he had in the NFL, and even though he was a great college one of the greatest college coaches to play, get it, but he has a lot of information, a lot of background troubles, like him staying away from the team and the NFL, staying at his thing, getting a woman grinding on him. Will that deter Nebraska away from him, or are they going to really look at him?
I think everything that has happened with the documentary of Aaron Hernandez and everything that has come out, what happened with that Florida football team, what went on under his nose, on his watch, what he let go at The Ohio State University. I don't even want to get into the NFL, but just on the collegiate scale. We don't know what happened at Utah. We ain't heard nothing there. We ain't heard nothing there. We don't know nothing. He was a role model student there. But those other two schools, and Nebraska, considering Nebraska, what Nebraska is at, that lifestyle, I think that's dangerous. That could trigger something. I think it's way too soon for Urban Meyer. Way too soon. Way too soon. Yeah.
All right, so what is your feeling here? Texas A&M got a double whammy last week too. They lost to Appalachian State, and then they lose game day to Appalachian State. So game day at ESPN is at Appalachian State. So how huge is this for Appalachian State to beat Texas A&M and then get game day the following week?
This is beautiful. This is what college football means. This is what they wanted. Boom. This is it. Here's the crazy thing about what happened last week. App State had to stay in College Station the extra day due to the inclement weather. You talking about putting salt on the wound. They got a chance to hang out another day. Just App State all over the place. This has to be painful. Painful. But that's what you get when you're worried about other things other than the task at hand. Coaches say it all the time. Teachers say it all the time. Your boss, everybody has told you this at some point in your life. Just worry about what you can control and what's in front of you. That's it. It makes everything easy. When you start doing this and looking ahead, you're going to catch an L real quick and you're wondering what happened. You took your eye off the prize. That's all that happened with A&M. They coach was worried about Nick Saban. He worries about Nick Saban way too much.
That is Jimbo Fisher's downfall right there. Now the question is, I have heard that Jimbo Fisher could be on the hot seat now after that loss.
All that money, all that coaching experience, that resume is sexy. It looks good to the powers that be that pay the money for these college football coaches. And if you're not doing what we said we were going to do at the initial meeting, win the conference, make it to a major bowl, win a national championship. Excuse us.
Hey, they're coming for you, man.
Shot of fireball.
And everything.
Siren. Wherever you at, just drink your shot of fireball right now.
I'm drinking my 20-ounce coffee I made this morning.
Hey, got mine too, man. Goodness.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of bad when you got sirens going off. You know,
this early in the morning. I live close to a park and they're doing something called a marathon over there. Weird.
Yeah.
On a Saturday, college football Saturday morning. Which I would.
Yeah, because you're about an hour behind, so you're 8:18 in the morning there, your time, huh?
Oh yeah, that's called walking the dog and making up and getting your honeydew list started in this part of town today.
Yeah, so
that's where they at.
Yeah, if you look at right now, we got our top 25 was strolling across. All right, let's get to last week's pick'em games here. You know, I understand that we picked a lot of games together. We picked a lot of games apart. We joked about it last week when we made these picks, that we had 80 games to go, and boom, and all of a sudden that one of us could pull away a little bit. Last week, Dre was 57-23. I was 63-17. I pulled away by 6 games. So that means I won half of those 12 games. You won half of those 12 games.
What's the overall record, though? The overall.
You ready?
Yeah.
Drum roll. Dre, you're 109 with 41 losses. I'm 115-35. Okay. After 150 games, we only picked Saturday games. So out of 150 games, we are still above 500, way above 500. So if you would have picked some of our picks, you would have been rich right now. And if you would have picked Appalachian State that I picked, you'll be in big time rich because that was a big time underdog pick, though.
My bookie is a happy man. I swear. A happy man.
So there we go. So we're going to get ready here. We're going to take a quick break real quick, and we're going to come back, and we're going to start picking some of these games. We have a total of
61.
69 games today. 69 games on Saturday.
Hey, 69 Saturday.
We go
Breakfast
from.
time.
Hey, guess what? Before we leave, we have a game that's going to start at 11 o'clock today on the ACC channel, Wofford versus Virginia Tech. So we're going to be talking about them when we come back. All you Hokie fans, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. Authenticity, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Network. We on top of our game. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to College Breakdown. We told you before we go into the breakdown, we're going to have the Virginia Tech and Wofford predictions here. Coming up, we got some good information about them. I'm going to set the stage for you. Today's game will be at 11 Eastern Time. 11 Eastern Time, so we'll still be on the air when this game starts on the ACC channel. The venue will be Lane Stadium, Blacksburg, Virginia. Virginia Tech comes off a victory over Syracuse last week. They go 1-1. They lost to Old Dominion the first week. Now they got Wofford, a small school, coming into Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is 1-1. Wofford is 0-2. What do you look at this game here? Is this a total mismatch? Is Wofford going to be overwhelmed with Sandman when the Virginia Tech people come out? Will this game be lost when that Sandman plays?
I don't think Wofford even knows too much about the Sandman. They're not going to be intimidated by that. But I think Virginia Tech needs to really show me what's going on with Vitek. I need to see a little bit more consistent play out of them. I know it's not the Vitek of old, but moving forward, what are we trying to do here, Vitek? What are we trying to do? Show me some college football that Vitek is known for. Not just a Sandman. Show me some sand football. Show me what you can do, Vitek Hokies. Show me. Come out fired up. I don't care if it is Wofford. Maybe this is the game they need to show me that Vitek is serious about college football this year.
Yeah, one of the key notes here that I picked out on when I went around looking at different things about this game here was in 2022 so far, Vitek has scored as many as points as Wofford Terriers have in 2 games.
Yeah. Look at Vitek's schedule. Look at Wofford's schedule. That's why. And
if you look at it too, Chattanooga, Elon by the combined score of 57-0 that Wofford beat.
Right.
Wofford's running game is averaging 83 yards per game, and it hasn't converted in the red zone, losing the first 2 games he lost 2 games to Chattanooga and Elon by the combined of 57-0.
That's not a good thing to build on going into Vitek.
No. And then if you look,
stats, Coach, I need positive stats. What can we go on for as positive influencer? Come on, Coach, talk to me. Team want to try to compete. Can't come in here telling us that we ain't gonna be able to run the ball.
I'm sorry.
Tell us we can't run the ball.
Vodtech beat Boston College, not Syracuse, last week. They beat Boston College last week. They allowed both Old Dominion and Boston College to convert just 2 of 15 chances.
That Old
in the red
Dominion, I
zone.
don't want to use that stat, but that Boston College, I like that. I like that. That's a good matchup for Vodtech. It showed me a little bit of fire, but it's still early in college football season. Still early. Which is week 3, but if we're scoring at home, it's really week 4. That week 0 bullshit. So it's still early. I haven't seen all the weapons yet from everybody, so I want to see something more from Vodtech. I want to see something more.
Now, the key is, too, that Wofford does have slew of penalties on defense, is doing a decent job against the run. Their offense commits a lot of penalties, minimal mistakes. We know the Wofford Terriers cannot come in here and make minimal mistakes in Virginia Tech. But when you play in Lane Stadium, the louder it gets, it's going to be probably a lot of false starts and stuff like that for the visiting team. That's what the intimidation of Lane Stadium. It rocks. I've been there a couple games there when North Carolina played, when Marcus Vick was there, and that stadium was electrifying. When Sandman come in, the whole stadium vibrates. And you can sometimes see, and sometimes if you see it, you can see the goalposts kind of swaying too when that stadium rocks, because the vibration of that stadium goes right into the ground, because the ground is built on top of some kind of platform that it helps when it vibrates. It starts rocking the field a little bit. At Lane Stadium. So now we got the crowd on top of each other. You got that slew of penalties. What does the Terrier have to do? Do they have to run the ball effectively, or do they have to mix it up a little bit on this, keep all Virginia Tech off balance, like Old Dominion did?
Well, with those running numbers that Wofford has coming into this game, it's going to be kind of hard to run the ball against them. But I just try to come out and try to play a balanced attack the first quarter and see what Vodtech intentions are. Are they leaning more toward the run, or they've been a little bit more cautious on defense in the passing game? Is the middle going to be open? Are my outs going to be open? What do we have the advantage at? I'll see where that's at in the first quarter if I was Wofford. But I think Vodtech is going to try to come out and make a statement early in the game like this. You don't want to – ever since what happened last week, everybody is on high alert watch for those games where you should win this game because we're this school and they're that school. Due to what happened last week with A&M and App State, I don't think nobody wants to give a team to stay around and hang around. A lot of teams are going to try to come out and make the statement made in the first quarter or first half. I
agree with that. I agree with that, too. But if you look at it, too, the Hokies cannot come over here and look this like a scrimmage game. They can't overlook, because they got West Virginia looking in the thing. If they overlook the Wofford Terriers, can the Wofford Terriers pull the upset like Old Dominion if they're looking ahead and going to the West Virginia game?
See, that's what I'm saying. Everybody, you got the underdog teams are going to look at App State like, look at what we can do. And on the other side, you got teams feeling like A&M. Look what happened when you fall asleep, or when you think too far ahead, or when you think you got this. Or our uniform's better than them, or our coach make this much money. When the game starts, both sides are playing football. There's no advantage. They're both playing football. So it's up to each team to go out here and play their game. If you give one edge to a team, they're going to take it. It's called momentum. It's called momentum. Don't give anybody momentum, kids, or you will lose that game.
Yeah, the predictions on these games is kind of wild. I mean, like 5 or 6 I went and looked at, and he predicted the final score to be Virginia Tech 45, Wofford nothing. Virginia Tech is a 38-point favorite. Wofford's a 30 points underdog. The over and under is 47.5. Some people confidence level is 5 to 3. Virginia Tech and Wofford must-see rating is a 1 out of 5. So, on your prediction here for the Wofford and Virginia Tech game, who do you have?
I have Vodtech.
All right, we're going to be agreeing here on that. We both pick Vodtech on that. I have a big spreadsheet here where it's got the X's between under our names. That's how we do it. We also got, let me show you what how I scored this. I want to make sure everybody is fair with this. Hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I just want to show real quick here. Share screen. I want to pull this up here. Bring this onto the stream. Add that to the stream. That's how I score right there. I put all the X marks where you got by the teams we pick. If we both pick, we both get the green. If we win, if we don't, we both get the red. The reds is the teams that we lost to. That's the ones we lost, and the other person wins. So that's how I'm scoring it. If you can see it, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll pull up full screen.
I'll
So
pull it up. I got it. Appreciate it.
that's how I do it. This is this week's. I'm gonna bring up this week's. This is how this week is. I know you can't really see it. The thing. So that's how we're going to be doing it here. That's what I want to show. No, it's kind of blurry on it, but that's the spreadsheet. That's the spreadsheet right there. So I just want to go ahead and show you that. I'm not lying that I do keep track of everything and how I score. I do score during football games. I wait till about 4 o'clock before I score the 12 o'clock games. And then I wait till about 7 to score the 3:30 games. And then I score the rest of the games as I get up in the morning. So, and then I, get everything ready for next week. So we both picked Virginia Tech here. This game is going to start at 11 o'clock. I want to go ahead and get that game out of the way for it. Right now, the matchup predictor on this one is 96.8 and 3.2% for the Wofford in this game. That's what they put. We'll give you a little bit of similar. Here's Work. The quarterback for Wofford Terriers is 20 out of 37 for 187 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Wells for Virginia Tech is 37 out of 61, 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That's not a good quarterback rating right there for both quarterbacks. You have more interceptions than you do have touchdowns thrown. Walker for Wofford is the leading rusher with 24 carries, 81 yards. King is the leading rusher for Vautech with 23 carries, 175 and 1 touchdowns. Receiving is Parker for the Wofford, 4 receptions, 46 yards, the leader. And Smith for Vautech is 6 receptions for 95 yards and 1 touchdown. That's not very good after 2 games.
No, not at all.
So, I mean, that's what you're looking at for Vautech right there in the Wofford Terriers. So I don't know exactly how you feel about this, but I don't feel good for Wofford if you come up with stats like that.
No, it doesn't look good at all for them.
So
I want to know what coach told them in the locker room.
Yeah, so the motivation is you come into Virginia Tech to play at Lane Stadium, at a historic Lane Stadium, one of the best venues to watch football with the Sandman stuff. So that should give them, the Wofford Terriers, some added momentum. But Virginia Tech also knows that they can't give up because they lost to Old Dominion. That's in the back of their minds, too, at a smaller school. So, let's see how they turn this game around here on this thing. So let's go and move forward here a little bit here. What game do you want? Right now, on the game slate, we only have one. We only have like one. I'm trying to find all the ranked games against each other today. I think we only have 2. Yep. We only have 2 ranked teams playing each other. Miami, number 13, and against number 24, Texas A&M. And we have the number 12, BYU, against number 25, Oregon. Let's go here right now. Let's move here to the big SEC game right now on the slate will be the Georgia Bulldogs versus South Carolina at Bryce Stadium in South Carolina, downtown stadium. I don't really like because there's no parking. You have to walk 5 or 6 miles. You don't get there early enough. And then they charge you. And I get them. I understand this people's houses. I understand their reasons by. But if you need to get parked near the parking lot, if you need to get near the stadium, after the parking lot fills, you have to park in people's yards. And they charge you $50. Closer you get to the stadium, it's $55 to park in their yard. So they're making money.
Leave your keys with them? Is it like valet?
I don't know. I mean, you park there, and you're parking on some people. The front lawn in some of these yards and down there is not real. You can only get about 5 or 6 cars maybe on the front yard lawn, and then these fools will let them park behind them in their own driveway so they can't get out till after the game's over. But they're making money.
I'm leaving you my keys in case I'm like that. But if I had a house on a college route or football, any sporting event route, I'm having people tailgate at my house. We're gonna have a fun. You park at my spot. I'm having food, drinks, and parking. All that's included.
Well, here I understand here in Jacksonville because people downtown, their front yards a little bit longer than what you see at Bryce Stadium here when Jaguars play. They all let them park in there, and some people park $25. But when you get to the fairgrounds and stuff like that, for Jacksonville, it used to be the fairgrounds. Fairgrounds here is going to be moving. Shotcom just bought the fairground venue. He said he got tired for the fair to be downtown, so they're moving the fair here to the west side, and he bought the fairgrounds.
So I mean, that is big, huge entertainment district, right?
Yep. They try to do something like with the Mark Limpin used to be the president of the St. Louis Cardinals back then when they had that. Now they got that big area where they do all the kind of party and stuff like that. Yep. He's trying to get something like that here in Jacksonville. That's the key. They want to have a big outdoor cocktail party. They want to make it a big outdoor cocktail party, too. So eventually, one day, when I get enough internet and stuff like that, I'm going to have Dre come down. We're going to actually do a show at the largest cocktail party at the Georgia-Florida game. So we're going to have that hopefully in there.
Coming down there next month. I'm still trying to work on coming down there next month to go to the game. Still working on that.
I'll be at the game.
I'm trying my best to get down there to go to that game.
Hey, look, if you let me know that, and I will work my best to get my Uber to where I can buy that 5G router Nighthawk and see how that works down there. Go do a test run, and we'll actually do it. We actually do a college breakdown show from right from the tailgate party.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to get a good buddy of mine to drive down and have a good time down there watching the game and hanging out with the folks.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you go to the cocktail party here, and, I mean, you walk around, you got no beer in hand, and people run up and give you beer left and right.
That's why I miss the South, man. I miss the South. Common courtesy. You hear
but
that?
Then sometimes
common courtesy.
And then sometimes you walk around with a Atlanta Braves hat on, and you get accused of being an Alabama fan.
I would never wear a Braves hat. No, that's just wrong. It's blasphemy.
Yeah, I'm a Braves fan. Yeah, I've been a Braves fan since Dale Murphy days.
Look at that.
That's how old I am.
Father of 12, Mr. Dale Murphy.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. I did get my 1982. I did get my Dale Murphy rookie card signed by Dale Murphy. He came down here for a baseball signing when the Jacksonville Suns were the Jacksonville Sun, not the Jumbo Shrimp here, the minor league team. They brought him in for an autograph, and I brought my rookie card, and it was one of those old Topps rookie card, and I gave it to him. He looked at me and says, "Dude, you that old? You had that kind of card? I didn't even expect to be signing a card like that here." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You're my biggest fan. I was your biggest fan when growing up." And I can tell you one story real quick. I know it ain't football related, but I'm going to tell you this one story real quick. I went and had to get stitches in my head. I had about to get about 180 stitches in my head. The Braves were playing, and the Braves were playing when I went into the operating room. I didn't get in the operating room until 11 o'clock at night. I busted my head open at 8:30. I was still bleeding when I went to when I was waiting in the emergency room. I was still bleeding. My mom got so scared because I was still bleeding, and they wanted to put me back there. They called my dad from the when he was with the firehouse. He brought himself over. So when he walked through the door, I was the next person called. They didn't want to get a hold of my dad. My dad was coming in with a red face, fired up. He's like, "My son's got a busted head, and you ain't taking him in. He's bleeding, and you letting everybody else jump in front of him? No, you're gonna take him in." So I got called back there. Well, the Braves were in the bottom of the ninth inning, so I thought I was going to miss the game. You know, by the time I got home, it was 2 a.m. That's when the game went 21 innings, 23 innings total.
I do remember that, yeah.
And Dale Murphy hits a grand slam to win the game.
Wow.
So that's how really old I am too.
OLD moment brought to you by Ray.
Yeah, so, but let's keep moving on here. Let's go. I'm trying to find my notes here. I ain't got them in order to the way I want to go here. Let's do Kentucky and Youngstown State here. This is a total mismatch on paper. Kentucky's coming off a high against.
Did we pick the winner of the South Carolina game?
No, we haven't talked about it yet.
Oh, I thought
we're going to jump over that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned that. They play in South Carolina, but I'm going to hold off to that for a few minutes.
All right.
Unless you got somewhere to go.
No.
Okay. Let's get Kentucky out of the way here. You know, and I know you hate the word Kentucky. I hate the word Kentucky too for different reasons, but you hate it because they haven't beaten Florida in 31 years now. They haven't won 2 consecutive games against Florida. They're coming off the Florida game. This game's at 12 o'clock at Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky, the SEC network. Kentucky comes in at 2-0. Youngstown State coming in 2-0. Is Kentucky going to have a letdown in this ball game coming off the high that they beat Florida last week?
I don't think so. I didn't realize what Bob Stoops brought to that program. That defense already has been something. They've had more problems on the offensive side of Kentucky in the past 5 years than anything. The defense has been pretty much solidified in those 5 years, but it's all improving on both sides. And it's coming full circle, and Stoops is finally getting them Southern roots really grounded down there. He got a good football program, and I do not think they're going to have a hangover or a relapse or still celebrating off the Florida win and the historical fact of what they've done in the past 31 years with Florida. I think that's over with. It's in the past. Hakuna Matata. I got Kentucky highly and heavily favored in this game.
Yeah, I mean that's something too. I mean, if you look at it this way, Kentucky can't get the ground game going. Chris Rodriguez out of the mix for a bit. Struggling against Florida's defense last week was only one thing, but only managing 50 yards and 26 carries against Miami University wasn't okay. So, I mean, they got the running game at a certain point in that Florida game. Is the focal point coming in this game to try to get the running game established against this Youngstown State's defense?
Yes, this is the perfect game to get all the kinks out the way. Because what I like about that defense swarms to the ball. Wherever the ball is at, you see multiple blue shirts. You see multiple Kentucky players when the ball is either in the air or whatever side of the field that ball is on. They gang tackle, they follow the ball, they do teamwork. This is the perfect game for the offense to work on that running game and a little bit more work on stretching the field with the receivers. This is the perfect game for that.
And then if you look at this, Dimitri Crenshaw from Youngstown State's passing attack from getting comfortable. The same thing with that. The Wildcats defense, Anthony Richardson couldn't get solid enough to keep that. Can Dimitri Crenshaw from Youngstown State get comfortable back there, or is he going to be running for his life like Anthony Richardson was most of the game against Kentucky's defense?
I love big dudes that play football with wide hips that can move fast laterally. And that's what Kentucky has. They have guys that can move fast laterally with them wide hips. Yes, they will be on the run. Play action will be key today. Play action will be key. That's the only thing that's going to hold up the line just a little bit. But other than that, I can tell you, they swarm to the ball. This is one of the fastest defenses in the SEC outside of Bama. They're really damn fast up front. That's going to be key to watch. But Youngstown State always has that 4th or 5th round draft pick that's on that team right now that has that NFL upscale look at them. So they always put something like that, about 2 or 3 players on a Youngstown State team. They usually fall on the defensive side or special team side. But I don't think they have what it takes to even be in the conversation the way Kentucky has been playing football this year.
And then if you look on the other side of the quarterback, are you surprised that Will Levis, is UK's quarterback, is keeping them mistake to a minimum and expecting the game to grind out on the way like this? Everything that they talk about Will Levis, that he could be a great NFL quarterback, are you impressed with Will Levis's play so far this year?
Not at all, because with a coach like Bob Stoops, he makes it real simple. Look at his resume of the quarterbacks that he's had in his collegiate career. And look at what they've done. You minimize mistakes, you create better opportunities for yourself and the team. That's an easy thing to preach to a quarterback that knows how to do the quarterbacking position and knows how to coach a quarterback and give him the plays that really go toward his attributes. And Bob Stoops is good at recognizing that and capitalizing on that. Minimize the mistakes and capitalize on the opportunities, and you will win football games. And that's a simple plan to follow.
Now, they say that some people are saying that Youngstown State has the ability to make this a fight. Do we agree that this will be a drag-out kind of game, or will just Kentucky just handle them kind of easily?
Like I said, Kentucky can use this game to work on things that they haven't really figured out yet. You know, we can do this. We haven't done it well. let's do this. The first half should be put your footprint in this. Let's do this. If you let them hang around, slowing the game down, running the ball, making it 2nd and 3 rather than 2nd and 7, it could be one of those longest first quarters ever here, and a close game in the first quarter. But I got Kentucky winning this game, not by a big margin, but I got Kentucky winning this game. It should be an easy victory. Easy.
And then Cavassier Smoke, that is an incredible good name right there. He had a cut, the way the announcer was announcing his name, Cavassier Smoke, the running back for Kentucky, it sounded like he broke out the Cavassier and he put the smoke on Florida. That was that's a great name. That's the only thing I really like about Kentucky is the name of that running back, Cavassier Smoke. You got a alcohol. I don't know if his parents is a drinker or not, but they got the alcohol and they got the smoke at the same time. So, is it a time to say Cavassier and Smoke at the same time on this one? Is he going to run? Is he going to be this game? Got to be a breakout for him because he started breaking out against Florida at the tail end of that game. So how does Cavassier Smoke now be the breakout guy since Chris Rodriguez is out, the star running back, out for the season? It's going to be Cavassier and him taking over. But Cavassier Smoke was the guy who helped Kentucky beat Florida at the tail end in the fourth quarter.
So everyone just talks about the name. His play has not led up to the name. It's a great name. It's an NIL name if this is done right. This has marketability written all over it. I wish I was his kid agent. We wouldn't worry about money no more for the rest of our lives if we did this thing right with a name like that, Cavassier Smoke. But he has been basically, I'm going to call him Crown Royal Cigarette. That's how he's been playing football to me. I haven't seen any Cavassier yet, and as a cognac man, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't, as a cannabis lover, I have not seen that yet. The name has not met the athlete yet. When those two meet, it's going to be a great story, as Gene Hackman told him, and in The Replacements that he told Keanu Reeves. When Shane meets his talent, it's going to make a hell of a story, a heck of a story. When Cavassier Smoke, the name, meets the football player, it's going to be a hell of a story. But until then, I'm going to still drinking this cheap-ass Crown Royal until I see some Cavassier.
Yeah, and they got Kentucky winning this game 37-17. Kentucky's 27.5 favored. The over and under is 53.5. Do you take the over or do you take the under in this game?
I'm taking the under in this game. I'm taking the under and I'm taking Kentucky.
You got Kentucky, I got Kentucky. So right now we're going to be on an even kill right now. So let's go to another game here that we can pick out here, and then we'll do some fast runs through some of these other games here. I want to go and try to find let me see where I put my notes. This is an interesting matchup. Ole Miss versus Georgia Tech. So you got Georgia Tech. This venue will be at Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, on ABC. Ole Miss comes in at 2-0. Georgia Tech comes in 1-1. They played Clemson the first game. Georgia Tech won their second game of the season. What do you see from Freeze's team so far? Did they impress you, or are they just going to be another team in the SEC West?
I don't know why Georgia Tech is the blunt of the jokes out of all football teams in the state of Georgia. Twitter is just – social media doesn't give Georgia Tech any respect. I want to know what happened down there. Why nobody believes in Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech has put some quality football players in the next level. They've had quality football players at Georgia Tech, but nobody is giving the Yellow Jackets a chance in anything when it comes to football. They just give them technology. That's it. They can have technology. That's the only thing we'll give Georgia Tech credit for, but nothing on the football field. Do we need Calvin Johnson to tell people what's going on down there? Georgia Tech is on to something. I don't know what's taking so long for the sauce to get stirred up and for people to taste it and say, hey, there's some good shit we got down here. There's a slow process going on at Georgia Tech, and I want to know why. Can't nobody explain this to me, what's going on with Georgia Tech? All that football talent in that state, and Georgia Tech is getting overlooked, and everybody just going to Georgia? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Can't figure it out. Something's wrong with Georgia Tech. That team, they're the laughing stock of all football teams in Georgia. There are high school teams that get better respect out of football in the state of Georgia than Georgia Tech. So I'm thinking something must have happened that they have not let out of the state of Georgia with the beefing and the disrespect that Georgia Tech is getting. Are you there?
Yeah, I was weird.
You froze up on me.
That was weird. Yeah, no, my whole computer,
It does that sometimes, man.
My whole computer just shut me out. It just disappeared when I was talking.
Wow.
Yeah, I scared you know what out of me right there. I mean, that's live TV, bro. That's live TV, you know.
That's the beauty of this thing, man. Mistakes happen. We keep rolling. I kept talking. Did nobody know nothing?
Yeah. So this is the point. This is what you want to know why they're making fun of Georgia Tech. I'm gonna tell you why. Quarterback Jeff Sims is a solid playmaker, but passing game isn't working for the Yellow Jacket offense. Georgia Tech was only converting 26% against Clemson's defense, but it was just okay against Western Carolina. So their defense is making the plays, but their offense is not chiming in. So this is the other way around, that Georgia Tech's defense is ahead of their offense, but Jeff Sims got to make the play. The kid was a good quarterback in high school down here in Florida at Sandalwood. But now he's got to get into the college game where he's got to pass. Sandalwood did not pass the ball when he played Harley. They ran this freaking option type style offense. I don't know what it was because he didn't line up as a conventional quarterback. He lined up in a tailback formation like a single wing offense, and that's what they ran because nobody could tackle this dude. I've watched him play at Sandalwood versus First Coast when he played at Sandalwood. Now you get to college, he's got to pass the ball. He's an ineffective passer. Is this going to affect him today against the SEC team? Because you know the SEC teams usually will make you pass the ball more than you can run the ball against them. So does Hugh Freeze stack up against the run and make Jeff Sims beat him today?
See, I blame the high school that he went to not preparing this kid for the next level. You knew eventually he was about to learn how to throw the ball. And the way these kids get to practice on the collegiate level is not the same as it was 10, 15 years ago. You have a small window of opportunity to work on his skill set. And it's not there yet. It's not where it should be at. We don't have time to give you practice during the middle of the game. So, of course, they're going to attack the weakness of this kid. Attack him. Make him think on his feet. That means getting rid of the ball within 3 to 5 seconds. That's going to be a lot of quick outs right there. A lot of quick outs. So the advantage is Hugh Freeze's defense. Advantage big time. It should be pitter-patter feet today.
Yeah, if you look at Ole Miss's games, week 1, it wasn't smooth against Troy, but the offense found itself against Central Arkansas with a good balance, fewer turnovers, with a better performance from the defense. Consider what the USC transfer Jason Dart has been solid at pushing the offense down the field and rushing the combination of Zach Evans and Keyshawn Jukins has been strong, and it should all work against Georgia Tech's team that has yet to show a ton of offensive pop. So how does Georgia Tech get their offense going now? It's going to have to be, I mean, if they're going to lean on the run, it's going to be an 8-man, 9-man front to stop the running game and make him beat you on the passing game. And then, like you said, you know, Calvin Johnson is nowhere to be found in this type of offense right here. So, and also you're talking about, because Paul Johnson was the option team, blah, blah, blah. You still got some of his players in the option format. It's not working with this spread offense type deal. The head coach for Georgia Tech has some time to get his players in there for the last 2 years, and we still not seeing the full effect of it. Is he on the hot seat at Georgia Tech right now?
No, I think they just need it. They need a hot, sexy name, though. Georgia Tech needs a hot, sexy name. They really do. I'm telling you, Georgia Tech is they're just getting the butt of the jokes right now, man. Did they forget about playing Georgia Tech style football or Georgia style football? Something's missing down there. I don't know what it is, but hopefully they can start figuring it out, starting it with today. Can they make a statement with the offense? Because the defense is pretty about okay. But offensively, I need to see something. Turn me on. Make it sexy.
Yeah, and one of the key points I wrote down on my notes was the Yellow Jackets will get after the backfield, but they come up with 7 sacks and 15 tackles for loss in the first 2 games. But they're going to attack Dart and make him hurry. And if Sims can get into any sort of groove on the offense, it should be able to start and click. But that's the big problem. That's the big downfall for Georgia Tech is that offense. What you want to look at this team, how does Georgia Tech produce on third downs? Right now, Ole Miss doesn't care about controlling the clock or have any able to take advantage of that by ongoing long marches to let the defense rest and hold up against quick pace. So, I mean, does Georgia Tech, if that's the case, do we see Kiffin to slow down this Ole Miss attack a little bit and to where the defense can get some rest? Or does he keep putting the pedal in the metal and keep going?
What's Ole Miss quarterback name?
His name is Jason Dart. He was at USC.
Yeah.
He's a USC transfer.
Yeah. He needs to step it up. He needs to step it up for sure. He really does. It's too much. See, teams like Ole Miss, they know what's in the wheelhouse, what's going to be on the field for next year. That's going to be one of their best teams they put on the field in quite some time. Don't nobody want to wait till next year. You got to use what you have right now, what's available to you now. And what they have is available right now. We know it's a lot of portal transfer guys, but they came from some good positions at the school, and they came here for a better opportunity to play now and show off their skill set. So let's use that time frame right now, Ole Miss.
Yeah, if you look at it that way too, I mean, something's got to really click in here. I mean, Georgia Tech either going to come up with some kind of offensive plays. Now, does Georgia Tech have to run some gimmick plays to get maybe that might jump the offense?
See, gimmick doesn't work with a coach that is known for their gimmicks. They can spot a gimmick, a mile away. It's like couples that get together. They both used to cheat a whole lot. They can spot it. They get along together because they both were cheaters. Cheaters get along together. He's going to spot the mishap coming long before that tailback move at the last minute or that slot receiver move to the outside. He's going to see that coming a long way, the trick plays. Now, you can probably get him with a trick play on special teams, but not from the quarterbacking position. No, I don't think that's going to work.
Okay, right now, if you look at it, Jason Dart is 28 out of 42, 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sims come in at 31 completions, 53 out of 53 attempts, 264 yards, and 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Still, that's not very good quarterback numbers for 2 games. I mean, if you look at it this way, this is kind of horrible. But I mean, like Sims already got 2 interceptions. He only has 1 touchdown. Start has 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. So they both have committed some minimal mistakes here with some errors and some interceptions. If you look at it, Quentin Jukins for Ole Miss is 24 carries out of 191 yards, leads the team with 1 touchdown. 20 carries for Smith, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So the running game for both teams are going to be effective in this game here. Can Smith make his way through here and get another 100 yards rushing? That could give Georgia Tech some breathing room here to help them with the passing game. But again, if they can't get the running game going, it makes Georgia Tech one-dimensional. And that's what Kiffin needs to do, make Georgia Tech one-dimensional. But that's going to be, too, they got to play discipline because Sims can run, too. He's a better runner than he is a passer. So if they get out of the rush lanes, that could open up a big run for Georgia Tech. Do we see Sims get a couple big runs here to put a little bit of pressure on Kiffin's defense?
That's the weakest point on both sides is the run defense, but the run game could be exposed early on both sides because they both have been trying to establish the run game with a little bit of consistency, but they also need to get some other options, get better at that passing game as well, because when you got the running game working and that passing game is there as well, it could be a long afternoon for a defensive coach. Long afternoon.
Yeah, if you look at it,
national TV.
If you look at it as the matchup predictor, it has Ole Miss 87.9% to 12.1% for Georgia Tech. So I mean that's a disparage right there. I mean, I know the SEC's got the prestige of being the strongest football conference, and the ACC is on the borderline between the Pac-12 and the ACC at the little lower end behind the SEC and the Big Ten. So I understand that there's a situation there, but who do you have in this ball game?
They're playing in Oxford, Mississippi, right?
No, they're playing in Bobby Dodd Stadium in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, they're playing in Atlanta. Oh, them Southern boys going to hot Atlanta. Stay out the strip club, gentlemen. Coaches too. But give me Ole Miss in this. Give me Ole Miss.
You gotta take Ole Miss. I'm gonna take Ole Miss too.
I don't see it being a blowout though. It's gonna be a highly close game here.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one too. So, yeah, I get the same way here. I give it that Ole Miss is going to probably take control of this game in the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be close all the way through past halftime. Then other than that, it's not going to be close at all. So, all righty. Now we're going to get back to the game in South Carolina. Georgia, number 1, goes into South Carolina. The first road game, real true road game for Georgia here. Against South Carolina and Bryce Stadium. We talked about it. I don't like the stadium. You do. I don't like the downtown venues. It's the stadium is garbage. Totally garbage. Dude, from the concession stands line all the way down to the bathroom line.
Tell us how you really feel about South Carolina.
And I'm gonna tell you, you go to the stadium, you wait in the bathroom, you better go before halftime. You're gonna miss some of the game. You better go before halftime, or you're gonna miss the third. You're gonna miss possibly half the third quarter by the time you go to the bathroom, get your concession stand, and get back in the stands.
You better get
that's how I feel about it.
Put that catheter and put it inside your pants.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't let you through the. Sometimes they don't let you through the thing like that.
Right.
They may ask him, "What you got in that bag?" And he look, and he like, "Oh, okay, we can't let you in here with that."
My mini bottles. I got to drink Fireball today.
Now I can tell you a way to get through some security with that is take it and put them in your shoe. You put them in your shoe, or you can take them and put your belt around yourself and pull your pants over top of them and stick them right in your underwear. That's how you get them. That's how you get them airplane bottles in the stadiums without being detected.
I just put it in my socks. Dude,
you ought to see some of these people at Jaguar games. Double coat, and I can tell exactly what they got in their socks. I can tell exactly what they got them in these bags. And then they don't check. Sometimes they don't even check the freaking fanny facts, and they got them all stuffed in the fanny facts.
I ought to get you a little sanitizer bottle. That's all vodka, buddy. That's all vodka.
Yeah. So yeah, true. So that's one way to get them. But
to sneak alcohol in a stadium. That's the easy part. That's easy.
Now, Ken, this is a big question for you. Can Mr. Beamer take South Carolina into South Carolina against the number 1 team and win this ball game?
Well, look here. They would march all the way to Athens, Georgia with the goalpost if that happens. If South Carolina can pull that off, to hype the team up, what I would do, I would play Lou Holt's press conference when he got the South Carolina job. Play that for the team. Give an uproar. What do we have to lose, South Carolina? What do we have to lose? The cheerleaders have "We Love Our Cocks" on their asses, which I love, but there's no way in the hell I could see South Carolina beating Georgia. But I did see something with Georgia that bothers me. The hits that the quarterback takes. It doesn't happen often, but when he gets hit, he takes a pounding, my man. And he took a lick in that Oregon game that I think he got a little twitch now ever since then, little twitch. So if they can just get a little pressure and you cause that half-second early release, that's a pick six. Easily. Now, I did see that little glitch now. That's the only thing I see in Georgia that the quarterback, since he's been hit, because he hadn't been hit in a long time like that, he got a little licking put him in that Oregon game, and he got a little hitch in his step ever since then, just a little bit.
Well, come to your little knowledge on that is Stetson Bennett is the one you're talking about. He is 49 out of 65 for 668 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interception. So if he has a little hit, a little twitch, like you say, but he hasn't coughed up the ball, he hasn't made that mistake yet.
He hasn't. He's smart. I like his composure, his demeanor, his story. I love it all. I love when a kid sticks to it or they make their own path and want to go somewhere else. I want to do this my way, kind of like a Jalen Hurts situation. Let me do this shit my way, mom and dad. I got this. But I like this young man's composure, his body language, his non-communication skills, showing his leadership skills, believing in his offensive line, and understanding the opportunities of the game. I like that.
And you can tell that, just like Anthony Richardson, Richardson's from Gainesville. So, and then Stetson Bennett is from Athens, Georgia. Hometown kid, always wanted to go to Georgia to play quarterback. He went through some unconventional routes going to junior college. He did get his chance. When he got a chance, he made the most of it against JT Daniels. Made JT Daniels transfer out to West Virginia. He took over the team and took him to a national championship to win the national championships in 1980. So he has a good movie script going here. This is a fairy tale story that still continues to go as of today. But on the other side, Spencer Rattler, who comes over from Oklahoma, he is 47 out of 76 with 603 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He is a turnover prone. And you playing against Georgia's defense, what does Georgia's defense like to do? He likes to turn you over. What is South Carolina going to do when he turns the ball over to the Georgia defense and gives Stetson Bennett and the Georgia offense a short field? Because you know it's going to happen. He's going to be running. He's going to make that one mistake, and an interception can turn over this ball game if South Carolina is winning this game. So
this is the one time that a kid can bring some knowledge to the table is playing in this of the moment game. Him coming from from Oklahoma. We play games like this every week, guys. So I'm up to this moment. Get on my level, and this is a game he needs to let them know, hey, I know I left Oklahoma, but let me show you I still got it.
Now the question behind this is too, if you look at the Russian, Milton for Georgia has 18 carries for 135 yards, 1 touchdown so far this season. Lloyd for South Carolina has only carried the ball same amount of times, 18 for 53 yards, but 2 touchdowns. So he leads the Russian attack for South Carolina. If South Carolina cannot get a running game going, what is going to mean Georgia's defense, the Bulldogs, will pin their ears back and come after the quarterback time and time again, and that can lead to mistakes. Does South Carolina need to find a way to get a running game going? Can they get a running game going against this Georgia defense?
It's going to be hard to establish a consistent running game against them, and they are fast on defense, all of them. So the play action, I don't think that's going to be a good thing to work today against Georgia because they attack the ball too. They swarm on the ball. I mentioned that about Kentucky earlier. But Georgia has really perfected that. Being the number 1 team in the country and the way this defense plays together and how they know each other, they rely on each other, they got each other's back. It's going to be real hard to establish a consistent running game the entire game here. And that defense, they always held each other accountable if they make a mistake. Hey, you know what you did wrong? Let's fix that. And that defense, they're good at that.
If you look at that, too, the wide receiver, South Carolina has a guy named Wells Jr. He has 15 receptions for 244 yards and 1 touchdown, and McIntosh for Georgia has 14 receptions for 178 yards and no touchdown. So now the advantage goes to the other way around. Can corners keep Wells Jr. in check today? That's going to be the question here. So what is your opinion on the wide receiver core for Georgia and the wide receiver core for South Carolina matching up this today?
I give the advantage to Georgia because the offensive line is going to give Bennett a little bit more time to throw the ball. And with South Carolina offensive side of the ball, I just think Georgia's defense is too fast, especially on the corners. They showed you last week comparisons to NFL players the past 2 games that Georgia's played with the speed and the way they bait you into throwing the ball. You're not going to get the inside edge on them if they're on the outside. And they're not going to get the outside edge because that's out of bounds. I know you need 1 foot down, but Georgia is really good on the corners when teams try to stretch the field against them. And you're going to have enough time. That's the thing. Are you going to have enough time? Because that defense forefront is coming quickly. And getting to the outsides, they got linebackers with deer speed. So it will be a challenge today for them to get rid of the ball outside of the pocket for sure. To stay in that pocket and throw the ball, that's some hellified offensive line support right there if South Carolina can do that.
Well, how do you think about this thing here? I did want to ask you about this here. The hypothetical told Shane Beamer told his staff this on Sunday that he didn't want to hear about shocking the world.
Right. Because of what happened last week. Everybody is trying. One coach or a player is trying to see what App State did to Texas A&M. Everybody wants to see that. Who's going to be the team this week to fall? The media is doing it. Beat writers are doing it. Live streamers, podcasters. Everybody want to find that it factor in all these we got 69 games today. Who's going to be the one? Even though it's not a ranked game playing each other, but if they do go in here and cause a hiccup with Georgia, that's 2 weeks in a row. No, really 3 weeks in a row. We've had a school be in a conversation of beating a team they should not have won.
Yeah, and then Shane Beamer went on and said, as soon as I walked out of the staff meeting, I had a text from on my phone from family members essentially telling me the same thing. Beamer is the son of Hall of Famer Frank Beamer. He has that big mentality of Virginia Tech. Billy, he was on the staff with his father, so he knows the big type games that they've been in at Virginia Tech over the years against Florida State and at in the championship game, national championship game with Vic as a quarterback. So the deal here is, he said, I don't have to rally them to make them to believe. They believe. How confident is South Carolina coming in this ball game and they're playing at home? How confident are they at home so that this game playing it up in Athens, Georgia? Now this game is at home. This is the first SEC game of the year for South Carolina and for Georgia. So how does Georgia come into this true road game, as the number one team in the nation? How much pressure is Georgia got to be, and will that pressure affect them today?
Pressure at all. I think they're coming into this game just attacking it as SEC challenge, but the home crowd at Williams-Brice down in South Kakalaki is something else. You're going to think it's a playoff tree game in college football because that student body believe they can beat everybody. They believe in their school and that program and them colors. So the hypeness in the crowd is going to be there. Now, can the team get behind that being South Carolina? Can that be of a bigger distraction for Georgia? Georgia is going to be fine. But if South Carolina even has a little hope to believe in that and believe in their quarterback and believe in the game plan and slow Georgia down and make this like a 17-3 game by halftime, that's probably the closest that South Carolina can get this game within 14 points. But there's no way. I'm not going to say there's no way. I got Georgia winning this game, not convincingly, not easily, not big time, but I got Georgia winning this game, though.
Yeah, I got Georgia winning the game, but I want to go ahead and break this 1 point out for you. Georgia's co-defensive coordinator, Will Muschamp, was South Carolina's coach from 2016 to 2020. He returns to Georgia as a defensive analyst before the 2021 season, but took over the special teams. He is a tremendous asset on our defense staff, says Smart. He is a tremendous asset to our special team staff. It is like having a second head coach. Muschamp was 17-22 in his 5 years at South Carolina. How does this do with Will Muschamp coming back to South Carolina as a co-defensive coordinator for Georgia?
You know how I feel about him because he used to be with Florida. You know how I feel about his wife. She kissed all the players on the lips as they get off the bus. I don't know if that's still going on due to COVID restrictions. But they put him in the best place possible, special teams, because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know. So that's the good thing about special teams. You got a bunch of utility players right there. That's the best thing, the best place for him to be is with special teams. I don't think there's no pressure on him to prove himself. He's just happy to be around football. That's it. Best place for him is special teams.
And then if you look at it too, Beamer, the Smart influence. Shane Beamer spent 2 years as Georgia's assistant coach for Kirby Smart and credited his former boss as a large influence on how he runs the Gamecock program. Kirby Smart made me a better football coach that was really, really beneficial to 2 years to be with him, Beamer says. So now you got the understudy. and Shane Beamer. So he's confident in his team. He knows what he needs to do because he's been on the Georgia staff and he's been in big games with Georgia. He's been in big games with his father at Virginia Tech. So he has two good influences as a start for his head coaching career. Also, the Georgia's main point of this game is Georgia's returned the top 25 this week and also moved back to number 1 in spot in scoring defense. So
who you have winning this game convincingly? You got them winning this game convincingly?
No, I got Georgia winning this game. I got it a little bit closer. I think Georgia wins by 7.
Yeah, I got a close game too. Probably like 10 points, 10, 12 points. I don't see a blowout coming.
But if I was South Carolina, and if I was that new stadium who got the new LED lights with red, I wouldn't do that today.
I wouldn't do that today. At nighttime when nobody in the stadium, that's pretty cool.
I wouldn't do that because Georgia has their same thing with red too. Alabama has the same thing with red too. So if you play those lights like that, Georgia might think it's their home stadium and come out and bust you right after the halftime. Yeah, I won't do that. If I was them, I wouldn't play them red lights.
You're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to them because that might set Georgia off too. So so we got Georgia winning this game. We both right now have picked the same team so far, leading up to this ball game. Let's go and see. Let's talk about UConn and Michigan here a little bit. Who you have winning this ball game here? We're going to do a little bit of rapid fire right now. Try to get some of these games called.
Give me Captain Khaki Pants all day. Give me the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, I'm taking Michigan in there. All right, number 6, Oklahoma versus Nebraska. So.
Give me Oklahoma, man. Give me Oklahoma on this. Give me Oklahoma. But Nebraska,
you gonna take Oklahoma?
Damn sense in this game. Show some bite. Show some bark. The frost is gone. Clear your eyes and start something new.
I'm gonna go out on the limb because it's played in Lincoln, Nebraska. The stadium is gonna be rocking still in Lincoln because it always has even stuff. I am gonna pick Nebraska for the upset.
Going on the edge again. It's 2 weeks in a row trying to show me up. Trying to show me up.
Picky.
I got you.
All righty. Texas State versus 17 Baylor. Who you got?
Baylor. Give me Baylor in this one. Give me Baylor.
Yeah, I think Baylor's going to bounce back from that overtime loss to Texas State. How about Aberdeen Christian versus Missouri?
Mizzou needs to show me an identity problem on offense. I'm going to give Mizzou another shot. It's 3 weeks in a row I've picked Mizzou. Show me something on the offensive side of the ball.
I'm going to go with Mizzou on that. Villanova at Army. Who you got?
Go Army.
That's one time you should say go Army. I got Army too in that one. All right, Northwestern coming back off the loss against Duke. Southern Illinois. Do you have Northwestern get back on the winning track?
Yeah, give me Northwestern in this. When they lose to Southern Illinois, something's up.
Yeah, I got the same thing. I got Northwestern winning that. Purdue and Syracuse and the Courier Dome at 12 o'clock.
So you got a basketball game, but unfortunately it's football. Give me the Cuse. Give me the Orange Men.
I'm gonna make it on you. Gonna take them. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take I'm gonna go out on the limb and I'm gonna go ahead and take Purdue on this one. I think Purdue will win this game.
Boilermakers, okay. Oh,
Cincinnati versus Miami, Ohio.
Ooh. Give me the Natty. Give me the Bearcats.
You're gonna take them. I'm gonna take them also. I think they're playing in Miami, Ohio State on ESPNU at 12 o'clock.
All right,
yeah. Long Island University versus Kent State.
Kent State.
Yeah, I got my brother went to Kent State, so I got Kent State on this one. So my brother got a master's degree at Kent State University. Western Kentucky at Indiana.
My cousin went to Indiana, so give me Indiana. Go Hoosiers.
Yeah, I'm going to say in the Big Ten also. Interesting game here will be Tulsa at West Virginia at 1 o'clock.
I'm going to give JT another shot at WV. I'm going to give him another shot.
Yeah, I'm going to say with West Virginia. This is going to be an interesting game, too. Buffalo at Coastal Carolina.
Buffalo at Coastal Carolina.
Yep.
Give me
down in
Coastal.
Conway. You going to take Coastal?
Carolina. Myrtle Beach in the building.
Yeah, I'm going to take Coastal Carolina, too. Buffalo could have a shot at beating that game. Bucknell versus Central Michigan at Central Michigan.
Shout out to the kid. Give me Central Michigan.
You're going to take Central Michigan? I don't know too much about Bucknell right now on their football team. I'm going to stay with the team I really know is Central Michigan. I think Central Michigan will win this game. It's played at Central Michigan. And then for the last rapid fire for right now, South Alabama at UCLA.
Give me UCLA. UCLA.
You're going to take UCLA? Yeah, I'm gonna stay with Chip Kelly, too. I'm going to take UCLA on this one. We're going to come right back. We're going to break down some more games to us. We're going to look at the game. We're going to break down. Coming up next will be the part of Ohio and Iowa State, after Iowa State did come back and beat Iowa last week on that all the defensive plays in that game. So we're going to talk about Iowa State and Ohio. Not Ohio State, but Ohio. Regular Ohio will be right back after these messages.
Already.
Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
This is the Fonx D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at fonxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back to College Breakdown. I am Ray, and this is Dre, my co-host, the Florida Gator himself. You know, he wasn't doing too much chopping last week, but he might be doing a little bit of chopping this week here. You know, but, you know. You know, we like to have fun with each other, you know, the Navy, the competitive spirit that we have. But, you know, this is not like a real debate show. We do have a little, sometimes we have disagreements on certain things, but still, we like to have fun here. You know, Dre likes to be, you know, he's all relaxed, a Navy style chief, you know, relaxation, you know, because he lets all the E5 do all the work. We get all the stressed out people because I was an E5. You know, the chief rely on the E5, E6 to do all of his work, and so he can sit in that Chiefs mess. We know all about that, don't we, Dre? Tell the truth. You in that Chiefs mess? Because I'm gonna tell you something about that too, about the Chiefs mess. My chief was the first class. He made chief. We didn't see him again at all. He sat in the Chiefs mess the whole entire time that he made chief. After he made chief, we didn't see him, and it was so funny. Our PNC chief was sitting beside. He sits there and he looking at me like, Where's your chief at? I said, I don't know. I guarantee you called the chief's mess. He might be in there. So he called the chief's mess on the phone. Short enough, he answers the phone. He says, what are you doing? He said, well, I got my E5s are working on it. My E5s are doing their job. He said, yeah, your E5 is doing a great job because the CO came down looking for you. And I had to send crews up there to do your job. And guess what? The CO is going to fire you. So he fired. The CO came down and asked for our chief. And I said, well, he's sitting in the chief's mess. He said, he's in the chief's mess more than he is now. I said, he made chief. You know, he figured that the chief's mess, that's what he was going to be. So the CEO looked at me and said, you come up and do the job then. I did the job so good. The next day he come down and he went straight to the chief's mess and looked at him and said, you're fired. I'm hiring your boy as a ship secretary. So he's going to be in charge of you. Uh-oh. So I was actually in charge of a chief as an E5 on a ship until they got him removed.
Boy, unfortunately, I had a wonderful relationship with my chiefs as a boatswain mate and working on Ford Island and Pearl Harbor. I work with a lot of the khaki people, a lot of them. And it was just, I didn't have a bad boss. I did. Now, my friends had shitty bosses, but me, I got real lucky. I got really, 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 really lucky. All the chiefs I work with were the shit. They were the shit. I think because they came up through the ranks. You know what I mean? There's some appreciative of the process of going up the ranks, and there's some that come already embedded into it, but don't understand the process of getting there. Like when officers they don't get the respect they deserve sometimes because people saying that you went to college instead of going through military the way we did. The animosity there, that little shit.
Now I can tell you too, my chief that I had two real good. Well, I had one real good first class that he was my recruiter. He became OSC. Knew him throughout his career because he kept up with me. He kept up with all his recruits. He even called us and made sure we were doing okay while we were in the Navy. And, you know, that's one respect I have for him. When he made chiefs, he still did the same thing as when he was the first class. He was OS1, then became OSC, and he did the exact same thing. When he moved out of the recruiting business, went back to the active duty, back to the fleet, he always made a chance to give us a call to wherever we were at. He either found our email or he gave us a call and found out how good we were doing. But the second chief I worked with, he was the second class he was the first class when I was at ADAC, Alaska, and that dude we became friends, and he was a real good dude. And the biggest thing is, when I went to SEAL Team 8, I was up in DC. I had another year to go, and next thing you know, I'm doing gate guard up there, doing all the message trafficking through gate guard. I see my orders come through because I knew he called me earlier. He called me about a month ago before this message came out, and he said, "Yeah, man, how long you have left up in your current duty station?" And I said I had a year left. He says, "Okay." He apparently went to my recruiter because SEAL Team 8 was having the issue of who was stealing money from them. They were trying to figure out which tech was stealing their money out of the Aptar because they were missing a lot of money, and I'm talking about they were missing $3 to $4 million.
Whoa!
On that budget. So he called me up. He says I'm going to see what I can do, but don't promise. I'm not holding my ability to do it, but I'm calling your detailer. You're going to be transferred within a month. So you need to get your family ready, and you got to come because this mission you're coming down here for, nobody knows that you're coming down here that we know each other. Right. So you got to keep it. You got to keep it where we don't know each other. When you get here, you got to do all the military respect and that you don't know each other until we can find out the dirty person in this office. Right. They don't know why you're coming. They just know you're transferring here, that your orders are getting renewed. But the CO knows, the Master Chief knows, and the XO knows. Mm. So I went to SEAL Team 8, showed up. I worked in the ship's office. I worked in the administration office because they didn't want to move me directly into the Aptar to go and start searching for them. So they rolled me in there for a couple months, got used to everybody, trying to let the guard down and getting used to me and stuff like that. So they put me in the band to go through all the files. They put me inside of a vault, security vault. That's where they kept all their Aptar information. So each day I get locked in this vault. Yes, I got locked in the vault. They didn't know why I was in there. They just knew I was running through some secret materials. That's what they were telling them. But actually, I was going through the Aptar from 3 or 4 years ago. And sure enough, in probably about a month and a half I was there, I found the culprit. And then we had another issue to come up over at PSD side of the house where nobody was keeping track of the travel claims going to PSD. But I took over the TAD spots because I took it over after we got the person that was doing the thing. They fired him, and they got him removed out. They found $4.5 million in his bank account.
Jeez.
He went to Leavenworth. He's still in Leavenworth right now. He had like a 20-year sentence. He should be getting ready to come out of there. But on top of that, I took over the TAD spot. So now they wanted me to get to the root of PSD, who was holding the travel claims over at PSD, because people were, back in the day when the credit cards were going to Bank of America on your TAD, that bank, if you don't pay your bills, Bank of America was going to shut your card off and you couldn't get back no card.
Damn.
Well, we had people getting their cars shut off for seals, and then they left a congressional investigation on it on both sides. They left on our side and the PSD side. And on the congressional, you have 5 working days to get everything turned around once you get that congressional. So we did the congressional part. We got to, make short story short. It wasn't on our side; it was on PSD side. We found a third class over there taking our travel claims and dumping them down. Thought nobody was tracking them. I was actually tracking them, and we caught him. So we got all that conspiracy. So so I had 2 chiefs I worked very well with hand to hand in my Navy career. So yeah. But anyway, let's get back to some football here. Enough talking a little nonsense here. We have a lot more games to go here. We're going to try to get some more look up here. We're talking about the Iowa State and Ohio State. How do you see this game playing out for Iowa State? Coming off the big victory against Iowa.
And they're playing the Ohio State at the Big Horseshoe?
Oh, they're playing just regular Ohio.
Oh, regular
Ohio State, no.
Yeah, Iowa State really used to use this. There's Iowa, right?
Yeah, Iowa State.
Iowa State. Yeah, Iowa State need to really use this as another foot on the gas type game for them. They needed that win last week, so they can use this one too as well.
But we know how good Iowa is on defense and stuff like that. Iowa State down the defense they're playing now, coming up against Ohio. That should be no problem. That should be more effective trying to work on their offensive schemes.
Yeah,
in this game.
One of those games you can work on those things that need to be addressed. This is one of those games. I don't want to call it a practice real game, but to a sense, it can be used that way on how the game is presented to the offense.
Yeah. We look at some of the stuff here for this game is they do have Iowa State 94.8% to 5.2 for Ohio. Ruckert for the quarterback for Ohio is 41 out of 64, 464 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Decker for Iowa State is 50 out of 69 for 477 yards and 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's not a good That's not a good ratio for the touchdowns and turnovers there.
No.
Do we see this going to be a high-scoring game?
This could be a high-scoring game. This could be Iowa State's advantage to put some points on the board and really work on the things they need to work on offensively, because the defense, I think, can play a good, solid game here. But the offense needs to use that game to show the coach, hey, we know we did in practice. Let's show you what we learned in practice and go out here and use that game plan.
I mean, right now, I was 18.5 favorite in this game. The money line is plus 700 for Ohio, negative 1,100 for the money line for Ohio State. The over and under is 48. Do you see them going over the 48 or under the 48?
I'm going under 48 on this one. Under 48 on this one.
And who do you have winning this ball game?
Give me Iowa State.
Yeah, I wanted to go Ohio, but I think since Iowa State beat Iowa last week with Iowa one of the best defense in college football, I think they have a little bit more explosive firepower, and I think this is going to be a 3-0 start for Ohio State after this ball game. How do you look at Rutgers under Greg Schiano, his second season at Rutgers, even though he's been at Rutgers before, but this is his second season there, and now they are 2-0 for the start of this season. They're going up against Temple, who is 1-1. They lost to Duke, and they beat their last week's team. How do you see this game faring out for the Big Ten?
I love when Rutgers and Temple play each other in any sport. There's just something about these two schools that maybe it's the alumni, maybe it's what each sport program has brought to the table, but when they play each other in football, to me, it's just hilarious. And now that Schiano is back there for a second stint, it's just something about Rutgers football I like, man. And in the Big Ten, it really fits it. That is Big Ten football, Rutgers and Temple. But I like Rutgers in this game. I really do.
Yeah, you have to look at it here for Rutgers. Simmons, the quarterback, is 18 out of 26, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception. But E.J. Warner is 14 out of 19, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Temple. So the quarterbacks don't turn the ball over much for both teams. So which quarterback, in your opinion, will have the first mistake in their college football career right now in this ball game?
I think Rutgers quarterback would probably be the first one, trying something different. Don't give coach. But my bad, I thought I saw something, but that's not what we worked on in practice. We don't need you thinking ahead of the curve. Just do your job. Don't think you saw something that wasn't there. Just do your reads. Boom. Do the play. Success will happen. But I just think
now, how does Temple stop the running game of Rutgers? Rutgers right now, Kevin K. Mogagi, 29 carries for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. They have the advantage over there. He's the leading carrier for Rutgers. Over at Temple side, Sadie, who had 19 carries for 71 yards and 1 touchdown, leads Rutgers. The advantage right now for rushing will go to Rutgers. Does Temple have a solution to stop Rutgers' rushing game?
I don't think it's a solution, but they can hold it up a little bit. Don't give up the big run. Those runs over 20 yards could be critical to a defense. It could be that letdown. And that's when the secondary moves up, thinking they want to help out the front four or the linebacking crew with tackling. That's when you get beat deep. So if they just don't give up the big run, they could keep this game from getting out of hand.
And E.J. Warner for Temple has completed 13. Jay Burton Warner has completed to Vernon 13 times for 163 yards. He's the leading receiver. The closest one on the other side is 6 reception for Kirchu Shinky for 83 yards and 1 touchdown for Rutgers. The advantage over there goes to the wide receiver core of Temple. How does Rutgers secondary match up against Temple's wide receiver core?
See, that's the one thing. Temple going to fall into the hands of Rutgers. They're going to fall right into their lap of they're going to call the plays that Rutgers is set up for to defend on the defensive side. That's why I see the advantage on the turnover side being on Rutgers' side, because Temple's going to come out trying to show, hey, we can throw the ball too. And Temple's defense secondary wants to be tested and show their coaches, hey, let me show you, our defense can hold up too when it comes to being passing defense. We can hold up too, coach.
Yeah, if you look at it too, the power index is kind of surprising to me. 89.6% for Rutgers, 10.4% chance for Temple. Why this much disparity? Is Rutgers that good over better than Temple, or is Temple, because they lost to Duke at the beginning of the season, or not? Is this reflecting of that loss?
I think this matchup and those numbers are based on just the two teams here. It has nothing to do who the previous team played. It's just when these two teams play each other, these are just the numbers and the equations that come out of it. This is just what we get, but sometimes the score doesn't dictate the index at all. We know that all too well, being fans of the game and watching the game, whether it's our team or another team. But I think Rutgers is a team. This is one of those matchups where that kid decides I want to keep playing football, or that kid decides, hey, I'm going to start taking this a little bit more seriously, coach.
This game is played at This game is going to be played at Temple, which is part of Lincoln Financial Field.
Right.
I think that's where Temple plays their home games at, up there in Philly. So does the home crowd at Lincoln Financial will be the factor in this ball game, or will they be eating that much crowd since they're playing in a pro style stadium? How does Temple draw the crowd for this game to give them advantage over Rutgers?
Well, Temple alumni travels well now. I do give them that. They do travel well. But I don't think their crowd have any influence, any objectivity toward Rutgers' playing style today at all. No, not
so who do you take in this ball game?
I'm taking Rutgers to win this game convincingly. This could be a 31-10 type situation.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same way. I'm going with Rutgers over Temple, too, on this one. The next game we're going to be looking at here is the Battle of Virginia. Old Dominion takes on Virginia, another ACC opponent. They're 1-0 against the ACC this year. How does Old Dominion pull the upset against Virginia like they did at Virginia Tech? But they go and play in Scott Stadium at Virginia. So they're going on the road at this time to play. Can they pull that upset at Virginia?
See, that's the thing. When you beat a team that everyone says or doesn't figure out you should have won on paper, in theory, or by talent, not just by school name and location, but when you win a game like that, it makes you question a whole lot of things. Were we really that good that day? Or did they play that bad that day? Did weather have anything to do with it? Did the referees really miss a key call? What was it? Are we really that good? Can we actually do the same thing we did for his defensive preparation, offensive game plan? Can we go in there and copy that game plan, that style of play, that blueprint? That's what gets me when teams go outside of the body and have a winning situation or a close game situation. That's the one thing that scares me about the upset, the underdog, the Rudy situation. How do you repeat that?
Yeah, if you look at it too, Old Dominion comes in this game 1-1 at Virginia, who also comes in this game 1-1. This game is at 2:00 p.m. on the ACC channel. Virginia is favored by 8.5 points. Are you surprised that Virginia is only favored by 8.5 points against Old Dominion?
No, that's a good number due to the fact what Old Dominion defense did in that win against Vatech. That's the thing. The defense is shifting the numbers quite a bit in a lot of these games today, if you break it down to its purest form. But everybody tries to replicate anything they've done successfully when the odds were against them, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's in your financial decisions or your college game plan or NFL picks, whatever it may be. We try to go back to what did we do to win that game? Why I can't do that again? That's what the greats and the GOATs do. They repeat the same thing over and over to have winning results each and every time. I don't see Old Dominion doing that today, though. No. Can it be done?
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna give you some props. You did pick this game last week. Illinois is over Virginia because they played up in Illinois. Virginia looks to become from a listless performance at Illinois when quarterback Brendan Armstrong, an outside Heisman Trophy contender, had a brutal day against Illinois. Now, does he bounce back against Old Dominion?
He can, but if he tries to do too much and show you, hey, that wasn't me last week, he could fall into trouble, which everybody tries to do in college football. They had a previous week. They didn't put up the numbers they should have put up. They didn't perform to the expectations. They didn't do their job. They try to come out today and do too much. But if they just stay in their lane and do the job, their job, what it's supposed to be for today, that can be a winning result. But if you revert back to what happened last week instead of letting it go, you can probably perform even better. But we all know that doesn't happen on the collegiate level all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you too here. Right now we're going through a rainstorm here in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's coming down. So if you lose me again, it's probably because of the thunderstorm that we have going right now.
Is that
yeah, it's rain.
Man,
that's rain.
Something else.
That is rain outside. That's why I want to let the viewers know I got a studio microphone, man. You know, got to go for the best. No,
everybody.
I gotta go.
I can hear every leaf blower. I can hear a kid crying 3 blocks away. These microphones ain't no joke.
I got me a Evo 20 Studio Mike.
They pick up everything.
Yeah, so I got a compressor on it to try to sum up some of the background noise. But let's continue on in this thing here. Armstrong against ODU defense. He threw for more than 400 yards per game last season, but when the passing game wasn't working against Illinois, he checked out more than he checked in. Regaining leadership has been a focus point this year here. We know the new head coach is Elliott from Clemson. Mendenhall is out of there. So what do we see here? We know that they're playing the same style as Clemson offense. Because Elliott made that offense down in Clemson. So does that work against? That would work against ODU's defense because the more of that style of Clemson plays, you got to have a balanced attack.
That's true, and I think ODU kind of opened up its can of kind of their secrets. Because it kind of exposed a little things they should have held on for later on in the year. So they probably gave a little peek at their playbook down the line. But if Virginia goes here and play Virginia-style football, I think this is a winnable game. Not easy, but a winnable game because ODU still going off an emotional high by beating Vatech.
And if you look at it, too, one key thing you mentioned there, they did beat Vatech in the first game of the season. If they beat Virginia here, they're 2-0 against the ACC teams, but they beat Virginia Tech and Virginia, who are arch rivals together. Now, that would be some bragging rights for Old Dominion down in Norfolk off of Hampton Boulevard. That's where they're located at. The stadium is right there. I'm going to tell you, if you go down Hampton Boulevard, going north back to 58, on the right-hand side, you pass that new stadium. And believe me or not, you don't want to stop there unless you're on that campus. Point blank. You don't want to stop there unless you're on their campus.
That's like here in St. Louis. You go where the Rams used to play it, you go 2 blocks north of there. We won't see you or hear from you no more. It's over with. Bye. Wrong turn. Everybody has one of those areas of town by their venue. They just say, why? How did that area get here? Why? How is it so popular? How does that happen over there? Why do so many people want to go there? And you tell them that's not a good area to go. Oh, hell, shit, I'm from Texas. I ain't scared of shit. All right. Okay.
I got a question for you. Why did the Navy put a military base in troubled areas?
Why are all sporting arenas in troubled areas?
I don't know. Here in Jacksonville, you got the same thing down here. Rudolph up road. I mean, down the other side, you go underneath the bridge away from the stadium. You better make sure you got a bulletproof vest on.
But bad neighborhoods do have some good value, though. I mean, you find some of the best deals on clothing, things that are hot, that are stolen. They have some unique women in that area. The best names. Cars
good restaurants.
In 20 or 30 years.
Good hitting restaurants.
Comfortable putting furniture outside like it's no problem.
Yeah.
You have hooded.
I mean, that same place down on the other side, you better take a bulletproof vest, but they got some good eating food down there.
See what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean.
The hood is beautiful in the daytime, especially on Saturdays.
Also, if you look at this too, Old Dominion wide receiver Eli Jenkins, he was the target of the pass interference call that was so costly to Virginia Tech and consistent death threat for ODU. He has 13 catches for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns through 2 games. Virginia gets Tony Ella, the head coach for Virginia, gave big shout out to the running back Mike Hollis. How does Mike Hollis got to be effective in this game for ODU, for Virginia to beat ODU in defense?
Don't get greedy. Not everybody needs the big play. They don't need the big play. You don't have to stretch the field. We don't need the 80-yard bomb. Now, if it's there, it's there. It's there. But back to what you said. If you have to give a kid a death threat, what is going on in your life? These are kids. As much as we yell at the TV today and cuss these kids out in schools and universities, whether it's our team or the team they're playing. At the end of the day, they're kids. They're children. They're kids. Now, they are being coached by grown men. We can cuss them out. We cuss them assholes out. But you give a kid a death threat? Man, come on. Come on. No way.
Yeah, I mean, that's
if Virginia is greedy today, it could be one of those 3 to 5 turnover days.
yeah. If you look at it too, you're talking about greediness and stuff, big plays. But Virginia don't have to really do this with this guy. This guy can throw a screen, be a balanced attack, but he also can take a short screen, which they take and put him out there 5 yards in front and throw a little short screen to him. He can take it to the house.
Yeah, let the player make the play. Sometimes quarterbacks get a little greedy. They try to make the play by stretching the field when you can just throw a little 5 in, or a little 5 out, a little screen pass, and let them make the play. Let your blockers do their job. Let your big playmaker, that's your 5-star recruit with all his speed, show you what he can do when he got the ball in his hands on a pass play.
And if you look at Old Dominion, the history against the Power 5 teams, they're 2-12. Both wins come against Virginia Tech. Virginia is 1-0 against them. The long prior meeting was 28-17 in 2019. Quarterback Brendan Armstrong, who is still there, has 253 yards and 4 touchdown passes from the Cavalier all-time leader in both categories. Armstrong's streak is of 18 games with a touchdown pass ended against Illinois. So does this start the new streak for Brendan Armstrong in touchdown passes?
I don't want to go too far ahead of myself and say it starts a new streak, but this could be one of those games again where things can be ironed out, worked on, straightened out, and with a clear understanding. Now do you know what I'm talking about, son? Yes, I understand, coach. This is one of those games.
Yeah, so I mean that's really a key there. I'm going to go a little bit here further before we get away from this game, before we announce our winners for this game. Virginia is 75.0% to 25.0%. Do you, on the power index, do you believe they gave them Old Dominion 25% chance of winning this ball game?
Yeah, I do. I do, because you don't want to be too rude to Old Dominion what they have done. Don't diminish what they've done so far in this early start of college football season. But at the same time, you want to recognize the schedule, the strength of schedule, and the ideal team matchup in this situation. This is not the used to formula. This is the here now formula. That's the best way I could put that.
And if you look at right now in the current stats, Wolford, Old Dominion is 32 out of 64, 440 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But on the other hand, Brendan Armstrong is 34 out of 65, 426 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Right now, the advantage goes to Old Dominion at quarterback. Now the question is, can the ODU quarterback continue what he's been doing over the weeks, of the first 2 weeks?
He can sustain the game plan, keep it sweet, short, and simple. That's it. That's a winning formula for a quarterback with that type of players on that team coming to the table in this matchup. Guys, this is a winnable game. If we keep it short and sweet and take what's given to us, maximize the opportunity and minimize the mistakes, that's an overused genre that's not understood enough in college football to me. When some of these matchups come about, they don't realize until tomorrow what we call Monday morning quarterback, but in college football, we call it the 5th quarter. When they realize the wrongs and the rights of the game after the fact, but people have already told you. And this is one of those things here. You got to keep telling him that through the whole game. And I think this could be a situation where OD could see themselves in this game midway in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, the question is that, too. The advantage goes to the rushing game. Does Tony Allen for Virginia start with the running game and push the running game on them before they start really going after the passing game?
Yes. I would run 65-35 the first quarter and see what's going on. Let me see what type of defensive skill set here we're working out. How these substitutions looking? Who can get long-winded? Can we get that big run? We gap off those. You get 3 big runs over 12 yards, you can really hurt a defensive force set. You can hurt that. Now you leave them guessing on what's going on. Are we shifting the wrong way? Do we need to go inside, outside? The linebackers are questioning themselves. Then if they get to cheating in the secondary, what's going to happen now? They're going to throw the long ball, Daddy.
Now, on the other end of the thing is, right now the receiving core of the first two games goes to Old Dominion. Jenkins III has 13 receptions for 322 yards and 3 touchdowns, leads the team. And Davis Jr. has 6 receptions for 156 yards and 1 touchdown. But the question is, how does Virginia capitalize with the 6'7" wide receiver they have?
Throw the ball up and let me go get it. Let me eat. Throw the ball up and let me go get it. I'm 6'7". If they defend me, that's called a PI. Pass interference if you're scoring at home. Advantage who? Exactly. The offensive scheme. That's what you have to do, but you don't want to over-target the situation. You don't want to over-target the situation.
Now, how does the Virginia defense corners and their secondary come back? Jenkins III, who is their leading receiver, who had over 322 yards and 3 touchdowns and on 13 receptions.
Screens, motion, double routes. They got to utilize that. You got to put him behind people and let him run. Put him behind people and let him run.
Now, I'm going to ask you this serious question, because a lot of teams, you want to go in there and you want to play. A smaller school wants to keep the game close all the way up to a point where they think they can win the game. Does Virginia need to go in there in the first 2 quarters and put this game away, period? If it stays after the halftime and it stays up close all the way through the third quarter and comes to the fourth quarter, is that a lot of pressure on Virginia because they are the favorite team in this case?
See, if I'm ODU, that's what I'm telling my defense. They're going to come out here and try to tell us and show us that we don't belong here. We shouldn't have won our previous games. Y'all not a real football school, and we are. So the defense is going to be ready for that. They're going to try. I think the first drive, they try to probably do something sexy. But other than that, no. Because you don't want to take away what, kids? The momentum of the game early. You don't want to have an uphill battle early in the game.
So we get into that time. Who are you taking, Virginia, or are you taking Old Dominion in this ball game?
I'm not going to lie, man. When we first started this conversation, I was leaning toward Virginia. But the more and more I think about this is what I like to call the window of opportunity for a team. It's early in the year as it is. This could change some recruiting minds for us. This could change some coaches' decisions for us. This could change the whole way that ODU looks at the rest of football season by a big win today for them. So I'm picking ODU to win this game. Close game, late.
Well, I'm going to go the other way around. I'm going to disagree with you. I think Virginia's going to bounce back. I think Brendan Armstrong is a better quarterback than what he has shown in the last game against Illinois. I think he's going to bounce back and throw back his starter streak again with touchdowns. I think Virginia goes up. I think it could be the same score from last year, 27-19.
Gotcha.
So we're different on that one here. So let's go look at the next game here. I want to point out some stuff here in the next game that we're going to talk about, but I want to get your thing on Murray State and Ball State. Who do you got winning this ball game?
Ooh, Murray State and Ball State. With Ja Morant be in the building. Let's see. David Letterman. I'm gonna go with Ball State in this one.
You going with Ball State in this one? Yeah, I'll agree with you too. I'm going to go with Ball State in this one also. But the team that I really am surprised right now, even though they played Ohio State, one of the best teams in the first game, but then goes and lose to Marshall on the second game, is Notre Dame. What is going on with Notre Dame?
Here's the best way I can put Notre Dame. A lot of these, I hear this is the most overused phrase to me in sports. My coach is like my friend. My coach is like my father. I've never wanted that out of a coach. Your coach should not be your friend. Your coach should be not a father figure. Your coach should be your coach. And that's Notre Dame's problem. Their coach is their friend. So you can't take discipline the right way. You don't know how to discipline in the right way. You don't know how to correct the error. You don't know how to put the pieces in the right spot. And nobody is listening to anybody seriously. They're all laughing too much. They don't believe in yelling over there. I believe they write everything down first, give it to you in letter format, and then you sit across from each other and talk about what the conflict of interest is. I really think that's what Notre Dame is doing, because that is not Notre Dame football. I don't know what the hell is going on with that football team since that young man has got that job. The only thing I keep hearing about him, oh, he has a great relationship with his players. Oh, look at the beautiful family. That's all I've heard. That's all I've heard. Those two things that I give two fucks about when it comes to college football. I don't care if you get along with the kids. I don't care what your family looks like. Are we going to win some football games? Yes or no? That's what needs to be talked about, and they're not doing that at Notre Dame. They're too damn sensitive at Notre Dame. Yes, I said sensitive with Notre Dame.
And then if you look at it, too, this is the first time a Marshall team went into Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame in Notre Dame.
We are.
They went into – they lost – so Notre Dame is 0-2, but they're 0-1 at Ohio State on the road. They're 0-1 at home. So now they can't go undefeated at home, and you're supposed to win most of your home games, correct?
Hold on. Has Notre Dame won since he's been the coach?
Nope. They're 0-2.
They lost that
They lost to Marshall.
They lost the bowl game. He coached in the bowl game. They lost that.
Yeah, he's 0-2 this year, though.
He's 0-3. He hasn't won with Notre Dame yet. How did he get the job? He on the hot seat.
I mean, he's a former Ohio State player. You figure, too, that he should know something about something, but he's a former Ohio State player also.
You mean the band? He was in the Ohio State Players, the band, the R&B group? Or
no, he was in the – he played at the Ohio State University. He was a former alum. He's a former Buckeye.
He coaching like he played in the damn band, the Ohio State Players.
But the interesting thing about this is the first time you will see it if you look at it. California comes in at 2-0 at Notre Dame, who was 0-2. This game is at 2:30 on NBC and Peacock. If you got the Peacock app, you can watch it on the Peacock. What a name, man. Peacock, man. I don't want to even think about that right now. But anyway, the line right now is Notre Dame is 11.5 favorite. Notre Dame leads the series 4-0. Does Notre Dame desperately need a win here today?
Yes, or he's on a hot seat. He's getting fired. He loses his game, fired. Fired.
The Fighting Irish here. This is some of the key you want to look at too. Fighting Irish has lost their first 3 games under Marcus Freeman and are trying to avoid their first 0-3 start since 2007. So you're right. They did lose the bowl game. So he is 0-3 with Marcus Freeman as the head coach. There is even an urgency here, and this is the first time you're going to hear about it. The schedule following Saturday, Notre Dame goes to North Carolina next week. If Notre Dame goes to North Carolina 0-3, that could give North Carolina some shot to make them go 0-4 out of that stadium. That's the first time. Now, that's some history right there. But North Carolina has bad time against Notre Dame in histories.
I can see this being a situation where it's definitely going to talk. He got to go to the principal's office. He got to bring his parents when they got to figure out where's this program going. This is not what we talked about.
But then on the backside of that, guess who they play after North Carolina the following game? They go up to BYU, play BYU.
Right.
So if you overlook North Carolina for that BYU game, North Carolina with that offense, the defense is still suspect for North Carolina, but that offense for North Carolina could keep them in the game and possibly win that game against Notre Dame if they're going to look ahead for BYU. So,
go ahead. So what?
So, on that mind, can the Cal Bears win their first game against Notre Dame in this history? In South Bend.
If I was Cal, I wouldn't even think about winning the game. I would just play the game. Just play the game. Let Notre Dame worry about winning. They're in panic mode. That offense is so stagnant right now. The defense is confused. The quarterback looked like he's in 8th grade. I don't know how he can see to throw the ball. I don't know how that young man can see to throw the ball. Notre Dame looks confused. They look like they don't even know who the coach is. What is the coaching philosophy? This may be my first time in a long time. I'm going to watch this game all the way through with the volume up. I'm going to do it.
But if you're looking at this, we're talking about Tyler Buchner. He is no longer the quarterback because he got injured last week. He's going to miss the rest of the season for the injury. This team goes to Drew Payne, P-Y-E-E. Versus Cal defense, the first priority is Irish needs to dominate. They have to compete on offense with Pay as their signal caller. He replaced the injured Tyler Buchner, who is expected to miss the rest of the season. The Irish have struggled, even with Buchner ranked number 117 out of 131 FBS teams in scoring offense at 15.5 points per game and a total offense of 302 yards. The ground game hasn't been much better, averaging only 103 yards and then they are now ranked 110 in the rushing thing. So their offense is down in the bottom of the FBS. What is? I mean, you say that Freeman is going to be buddy with him. Is he time to cut the buddy chain and become a real head coach?
Yes, it's like guys. It's like parents that are too close to their friends. I mean, to their kids. Oh, me and my son best friends. What? No. Stop saying that shit. Because when it comes time to discipline him, can you do it? Can you be a father and a friend of your kid? Yes. Can you be a best friend and a father to your kid? No. There's a big difference right there. And that's what's happening with Marcus Freeman in Notre Dame. He's too close to be their damn coach to yell at them, to coach them. They got that old family, we don't yell, buddy shit, we hug, we smile. That is not fucking football. That is not football. I don't know what that shit is, but I don't want no part of that. My son is not going to no program that coaches like that. No. How you going to learn anything? How you supposed to know when you do anything wrong? Well, over here at Notre Dame, we take things a little differently here when it comes to coaching our kids, the mistakes and lessons that need to be learned. We write it down first, and then we sit across from each other. We talk about it. What?
Now we got a problem here. Notre Dame the offensive line has not gotten to that second level where they can block these linebackers. They got another linebacker they gonna have to go up against is linebacker Jackson Sermon. He already has 17 tackles, 1 pass breakup, 1 forced fumble for Cal. They're only allowing 13.5 per game on this defense for Cal. But Cal has upgraded their quarterback. Jake Plummer, who started his career at Purdue, returns to Indiana after his strong first 2 games. He is 51 out of 74 with 546 yards and 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Plummer also played well against Notre Dame while starting for the Boilermakers last year. He went 25 out of 36, 187 yards and 1 touchdown. Now he's got an advantage here because he has played against Notre Dame last year. So does the Cal offense still run up to try to get this going? If they keep it going like they have the first 2 games, can Cal win this ball game today?
They have an opportunity to win this game, but I will let Notre Dame make the mistake. I will let Notre Dame be the aggressor all day. I will not attack until Notre Dame has failed. Let's say 2 fumbles and a pick before halftime, and you're still in the game within 3 to 7 points. I'm firing on all cylinders coming out second half.
And if you look at it too here, wide receiver has the most dominant, most explosive offensive player in Lorenzo Style at wide receiver. The coaching staff has said he needs to get more involved. How do you get him more involved? He only has 8 receptions for 123 yards and an average 15.4. He also had a 22-yard run against Marshall, but he needs to be more of a significant role player. But coverage has been double teaming him at the start too. So how does he get away from the double team? How do he become more of a role maker, a explosive offensive player like he's supposed to have, his number 1 wide receiver? How does Pay get him the ball today?
Well, the offense can't get into gear with any consistency from what I've seen from Notre Dame. Just in watching the highlights of Notre Dame, I see the offense struggling to give itself an identity this year with the Fighting Irish. I don't see it. The quarterback to me is just way too small. I don't see any upside there. I don't see the skill set today in this matchup.
And if you look at it too, Notre Dame's defense has not forced a turnover in the first 2 games. Is that a problem?
It's a huge problem. I don't know who this Notre Dame team is. I still don't. They wearing the uniforms. They're wearing the uniforms, but I don't know this football team. Notre Dame fans out there, how do they feel about this season? I mean, the Golden Domers, talk to me. I saw the Glee Club this year. I was impressed by that, but I'm not impressed by this football team at all.
And if you look at this too, Kyle's defensive end, Xavier Carlton, has 6 tackles, 2.5 sacks this season. Saturday marks the first time that the schools have played since 1967. They met 4 times, starting in 1959. The Irish have won the All Four. The Golden Bears running back Jaden Ott has 198 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns. That's that. You got a passing game and you got a running game for Cal this year. How does Notre Dame's defense going to stop them, try to make them one-dimensional? And how you want to make them one-dimensional? You want to make them be a run team as one-dimensional or a passing team as one-dimensional?
Notre Dame's pass defense is unrecognizable. I mean, pass offense is unrecognizable. Their run offense is not in the building. Cal, I haven't seen Cal play this year. Just looking at the numbers on Cal, it looked like they can put up a pretty good fight with the passing game.
Now, this is the problem I have with this matchup power index thing. They got 91.1% for Notre Dame beating Cal, only 8.9%. Is that too low for Cal?
I don't think it's too low for Cal, but Cal knows it can do a much better job than what Cal has done. You know, they really do. Where did I go? I disappeared. Okay, there I am. All right. Cal knows what it can and cannot do. They're their only obstacle in today's game is Cal itself. This is a winnable game for Cal and his coaching staff. This is a winnable game for them.
And if you look at it too, all the advantage goes to Cal. Passing goes to Plummer, goes to Cal. The rushing attack goes to Cal because they have a guy who has 24 carries, 156 yards there. To Buckner, who led the quarterback that's injured, is leading rusher for Notre Dame at 24 carries and 62 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Jesus.
And he's also the leading passer for Notre Dame. But he's injured. He's going to miss the rest of the season. Myers for Notre Dame. The receiving corps goes to a slim margin to Cal at 11 receptions for 157 yards and 1 touchdown to Myers, who had 13 receptions, 135 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's the tight end for Notre Dame. The Notre Dame tight end has been effective this season. How does Cal take the Notre Dame tight end out of the equation today?
See, that's the thing. The tight end is going to be big and key for Notre Dame due to the fact the protection that the offensive line provides is not enough time. So the tight end and the backside of the backfield will be getting a lot of play today from Notre Dame. But it's going to be a player we haven't heard of at all this year for Notre Dame. That has to be that big playmaker, that Rudy type of player today that Notre Dame is going to need in order to win this game, be in this game. But the tight end will be the key factor for Notre Dame getting the victory today. The tight end play will be the key factor and winning factor for Notre Dame winning this game today.
All right, so you said that. Do you go with Cal and pulling the upset, or are you going to go with Notre Dame winning their first game?
I'm going with Cal pulling the upset today.
I agree with you too. I think Notre Dame is going to go to North Carolina 0-3, but that's going to give me a scare next week when Notre Dame is going to come in, because the history between Notre Dame and North Carolina is not very good. Notre Dame's been one-sided. So something about Notre Dame and North Carolina when they play, some turns North Carolina's offense to a regular stand. And they played very good up to the point when they played Notre Dame in past history. But that's going to be a little bit scary part if Notre Dame comes in there 0-3. So
here's a footnote today. I think on television today, when you're watching the Notre Dame Cal game, they're going to tell us so much about the history when Notre Dame was at the last time they were 0-2 or 0-3 under first-year coach, counting that bowl game. They're going to bring up the fact if they go into Carolina, what the implications could mean for that if Notre Dame goes into there, and it's going to lead to, could this be a hot seat situation already in Marcus Freeman's early career? I say yes, all systems are a go. Because we all know from history's past, Notre Dame does not like looking like the ass of a joke in any situation.
Do you think this is the start of the curse of Brian Kelly at Notre Dame?
Yep.
Because I mean, a lot of
Notre Dame had that lied on his resume. He only had the job for like 2 days. Something O'Brien, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Ever since he lied on his resume, Notre Dame has had an issue. Ever since Notre Dame signed an NBC contract for $34 million, nothing has happened. So what is going on at Notre Dame is more of a bigger story than the Rudy movie, I think, that nobody's talking about. Because
I think it's their how people get into Notre Dame too. I think some of them people don't qualify too because they have a strong qualification process too.
We only want the top honor prestige here, youngster. At South Bend here, we call Indiana. You can go down the road to Holy Cross, but to come in here, this is what we require up in here.
I think Notre Dame changed their stance when Lou Holtz left because Lou Holtz got some players in that didn't even qualify to get in Notre Dame.
Well, that was still part of that one rule they had at the time. I don't want to call it Prop 48, but it was something else that we call in collegiate football. Because what's his name? Tony Jones, he fell up under that situation at one point.
So we got Cal winning that game. Let's go a little bit of rapid fire here. Tulane at Kansas State. Who you have?
Give me K-State.
I think K-State at home. This is playing in Manhattan. Not Manhattan, New York, but Manhattan, Kansas. They call it Little Manhattan. North Texas at UNLV.
They're playing in Vegas. Give me U-Love. Give me some unlove. UNLV, the Rebels.
You're going to take the Rebels. I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to take North Texas on this one here. So we're getting some games that we're now spreading us a little bit apart again. All right, the big one here. Number 12, BYU at number 25, Oregon. Let's talk about this game a little bit here. This game is going to be played at 3:30 on Fox. This game is in Eugene. Does BYU have a chance to go to Eugene and beat this Oregon Ducks team?
Well, the BYU program in football has been up on the rise for a few years now. They want to be taken seriously. And this is one of those games where they can be taken seriously if they win this game against Baylor, because on the other side of the ball, Baylor is still pissed off the game against Georgia. How they let Georgia just whipping like that. That was a whipping on live TV. That was an ass beating in all aspects of the game. So that's how Baylor is coming in. I'm sorry, that wasn't Baylor. That was Oregon I'm talking about.
Oregon.
Yeah. But I can see BYU coming in here trying to really make a statement. I can see that.
And then if you look at it too, Oregon Ducks last week, even though they played Eastern Washington, got a little bit of momentum. They won 70-14 in that game. The route helped Oregon move from a disappointing season opening loss to Georgia, while Georgia and Eastern Washington certainly aren't compatible opponents first year. Ducks coach Dan Lanning said the goal is to see progress from week one to next. He did see that progress. Does that help that game, seeing that progress on the offensive side, help them prevail over BYU today?
So now that showed them that the offense can do something. You see what we can do if this is done the right way. They got to really put that Georgia game behind them, literally. If they put that behind them, that game is over with, it's out the way. I know a lot of announcers probably bring up things they wish they would have done or seen in the Georgia game as they're talking about the matchup today. But they have to play their style of football. Whether right uniform combination, if it's not working, Change them damn uniforms at halftime. That's what they should have get this joke. They should have changed uniforms at halftime. I don't know if that's legal or illegal, but they should have changed uniforms at halftime. They should have.
Now the question is, Bo Nix is now finding some rhythm in this Oregon Ducks offense. What kind of problem would that cause BYU if he does get in rhythm? We know how good he is when he's in rhythm, but BYU has to get him out of rhythm. BYU's defense can do that, but if Bo Nix get in the rhythm early and sees the ball completions and gets in his game, is that double trouble for BYU?
Yep, that's 80 points on the board. That's 80 points. They're going to bust 80 on you. Easy. Probably a double nickel by halftime if he's feeling the rhythm. If they get to believing in that duck-style football, quack, quack, it could be a long, long afternoon early in the game. I'm talking, he think it's halftime, and it's only the end of the first quarter, and it's 35-0 type situation. And
if you look at that too, BYU's problem is they used to be able to rush the ball, but he rushed carried the ball 33 times against Baylor for only 83 yards. That's not very good. If you could rush the ball, carrying the ball 33 times, you're only getting 83 yards at total in that game. And it could be a problem against the Ducks defense because they are fast. They swarm to the ball. But Georgia even though Georgia's not the same caliber as BYU, but Georgia had a good time running the ball against the Oregon Ducks defense. Is that going to cause some problem today? Or does the Oregon Ducks defense now, since BYU's running game is being empty, what's going to have to start for BYU is that running game because that play action pass is their forte. So does the Duck defense stop the running game today?
We saw how fast Oregon defense can be when it works against Georgia. We saw how fast they are when it works. And we saw what happens when they overcompensate the play. We saw what happens when there's confusion on the play. And have they learned a lesson from all three of those scenarios will be a big factor today. I wouldn't gamble on Oregon defense playing undisciplined football early. I wouldn't gamble. I see them playing a very disciplined style play because they saw what happened when they get outside the box, outside of being disciplined in the first game of the year. And when everything is going the right way, we saw last week what can happen. No matter the matchup, the food's still going to taste the same. No matter where you go, the cheeseburger's still going to taste the same, no matter where you go. If they believe in that and follow that, they can have success on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. But if one side gets if Nix gets to getting homesick, trying to become his dad, anything reminiscent of last year, there could be early mistakes, not reading the proper defensive coverage. There's a pick six, holding on the ball too long. There's a scoop and score, or getting hit when you should not get hit, not getting rid of the ball early enough. So that's the other side of the ball for BYU coming into this. But if BYU does their job, this could be an evenly matched game probably to the first half.
All right, and you look at this, the fresh start comes with the Cougars starting offensive tackle, Kinsley Simoye, who is a transfer from Oregon, who is the former five-star recruit, played one game for the Ducks last year as a freshman. Could you see the talent? But it's the things that he brings off the field that matters for us and fits with our culture. BYU coach Kali Stecki, I think that's how you pronounce his name, said he loves being a part of this team. He loves his teammates, and I think he feels really comfortable being here. He's a hometown guy, so I think he feels comfortable in our offense and compatible with our coaches. He makes a return back to Eugene, Oregon. He is from Utah. He is from the state of Utah. He didn't feel comfortable at Eugene. Now he feels comfortable with BYU. He knows the defensive line a little bit because he went through practice with Oregon last year, and he knows some of the things. Does he have an advantage on some of these defensive tackles that he's going to be going against today?
No, not at all. I think, style of playing, coaching, when players transfer now, you're not bringing nothing to the table that the coaches don't already know, because with videographers and the football technology, he's not telling them nothing they don't know at all. Why did he transfer? Was it lack of playing style or the coaching style? I'm always looking at that when kids transfer. Did he get homesick? Sounds like it to me that he wanted to go back home, which is nothing wrong with that. Now, if he goes out here with the attitude, let me show you what y'all gave away, or here's why I should have been starting, that's called for overplaying the moment, high emotion, uncalled, unsportsmanlike penalty early, which brings the momentum the wrong way, and maybe early mistakes, fumbling the ball, doing too much. But if he actually just wanted to stay home and play football and just concentrate here, it could be a good turnaround for him and a good story situation for this kid. But a whole lot of things got to work the right way for BYU. I don't call it an upset. I don't call it an eye-awakening win. I can call it a good football game to be played if they go in here with the right game plan that works. But early turnovers will probably dictate this.
All right, this game is at 3:30 on Fox. Who do you have winning this ball game?
This is one of those games, man. I thought I had a real for sure pick here, man, but I'm a little indecisive on this, but I'm still a little toward the Ducks. They need this win. They need this win. They want to be in the conversation again of that playoff tree, even though that early season loss, we know sometimes does not mean you can't come to the party.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with BYU. I think BYU is going to come in. I think the running game is going to be a little bit stronger than we see. I think the quarterback, I think Bo Nix is too much inconsistent on big games. So he hasn't won me over on these big games, and this is going to be a big game here. Number 12, BYU goes into number 25, Oregon. I got BYU winning this game by 7.
Good point. Good strong facts right there that he can't win those big stage moments. He don't like when the lights and camera on.
All right, so number 22, Penn State goes to Auburn. Who do you like in this ball game?
The Nittany Lions. I don't know.
Yeah, I got Penn.
What Auburn, them Auburn Tigers. It looks like they only get ready for 2 games a year. That's it. They get ready for, I think, Bama, and they get ready for Georgia. That's it. Them the only 2 games they practice for, get prepared for, party for, and kick it for. Give me the Nittany Lions on this one, man.
Okay, Vanderbilt at North Illinois Day.
NIU. That football team
Against
is a long way, man. Long way. But I can't go with them this week.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt, the SEC powerhouse, a little bit lower tier SEC powerhouse team, against the non-conference team. Huh?
I said Vandy is dandy.
Yeah, so Colorado at Minnesota today. Who you have?
I wish Colorado and Nebraska would just get back to the days of yesteryear, but there's a hope and a dream out there, and it's not named Cinderella, and we don't have a slipper for it. So, oh, man. I can't go with Colorado on this one. I can't.
Yeah, we're both going to go with Minnesota on this one.
Yeah, give me Minnesota.
New Mexico State at Wisconsin. Camp Randall Stadium. Who you have?
Wisconsin and who?
New Mexico State.
Give me Herm Edwards.
And Madison.
Man. Give me Herm Edwards.
No, not Arizona. New Mexico State.
Oh, no. Give me Wisconsin.
Yeah. Stony Brook against UMass.
That's one of those good Saturday morning game matchups too, man. Oh, man, I love Stony Brook stories, highlights. Give me the Minutemen of UMass.
I'm going to take Stony Brook on this one.
Okay.
I might make a mistake, but might get a game on me on that one. But I think Stony Brook could pull the upset there at UMass. We got Georgia Southern, who went into Nebraska last week, going up against UAB. Who do you have?
University of Alabama, Birmingham, and Georgia Southern. Give me Georgia Southern, man.
You're going to take Georgia Southern. I think Georgia Southern's a little bit better than UBA. I'm going to go with Georgia Southern also. We both going to know this one, but University of Louisiana Monroe goes into Alabama today, number 2 Alabama. Who do you have winning this ball game?
Well, I got Bama beating the hell out of them. But here's something I'm looking forward to today. Here's something I'm paying attention today. I'm paying attention. Did they learn anything last week? Because we all know that Bama had practice at the church last Sunday. Right after church last Sunday, they went to practice. Full packs. Sprinklers on, whole 9. Wind machine on 2. He wasn't playing. If the coaches didn't learn, they pissed him off last week, he going to lose his mind today. He may not wear a headset today. This may be one of those games. He said, I'm not talking to you fucks today. This may be one of those games he doesn't even wear a headset. Because he done all the coaching he gonna do. He's not coaching today. He done enough this week. Now it's on them.
I agree with you on that. Now, how about Kansas at Houston?
I told you about Houston, and Houston kind of played up last week. I like that, but I like Kansas in this game. I like Kansas.
You going with Kansas?
Yeah.
I'm going to stay with the home team. Kansas hasn't proven they can win on the road yet against a quality team like in Houston.
Right.
So I'm going to go with Houston on this one. University of Tennessee Martin at Boise State today.
The Blue Bonnet field. The Broncos
Yes.
of Boise State. I will go with Boise State.
Yeah, I got Boise State also with this one. Liberty goes into the number 19 Wake Forest. Hartman is back. Wake Forest is now number 19 ranked team in the nation on the ACC network. Who do you have? You have Hugh Freeze going in to beat Clawson's Demon Deacons, or you have Wake Forest winning this ball game?
Wake Forest, man. I'm loving this Wake Demon Deacons. The Demon Deacons.
Yeah, I'll take Wake Forest on this one. Also, Colorado State versus Washington State. At Washington State.
Washington State.
Yeah, I'm going to take Washington State also on this one. Mississippi State goes into LSU on ESPN at 6 o'clock today. Who do you have?
Mississippi State playing the LSU Tigers.
Yep, in LSU.
All down in Baton Rouge. As much as Mississippi needs all of our help, man. Mississippi State, they need our help out there, people. I'm picking Mississippi today, man. I'm picking them today just for the fact what's going on in the state of Mississippi. It's awful. It's disgusting. It's horrible. And I know Baton Rouge got a party school. I get it. But Mississippi State, I'm pulling for y'all this weekend. Let's go Mississippi State.
All right, I got Mississippi State. I got LSU. You got Mississippi State?
Yeah, I'm picking them this weekend, man. This a moral victory win I'm giving in. Let's do it for the people of Mississippi.
I'm taking LSU. All right. Now, this is the team I want to talk about the head coach. The new head coach situation. They have now gone 2-0 this season. It's the Duke Blue Devil on the former defensive coordinator at Texas A&M. Are you surprised that Duke is winning these games on the defensive side handily? The first two games of the season. They beat Northwestern last week.
No, I'm not surprised at what Duke defense has done. Not at all. What Duke defense has been able to do in ACC football should not be a shocker to nobody. What Duke, the football team, is doing on defense. No, I'm not shocked or surprised at all. Now,
if you look at this matchup, Leonard, I think he's the freshman quarterback, the brand new quarterback for Duke. He has 37 out of 54, 568 yards and 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. He played against a Temple team the first game of the week. I really didn't, I would have given him no credit on that, but I did give him credit on the Northwestern game because Northwestern did go to did win their first game of the season against a high-quality team, and Duke came back and beat them this week. But they got North Carolina A&T. Does North Carolina A&T in this football championship series is a little bit better than what we think, but do they have enough power to match Duke University right now?
And this is the Duke Texas A&M game. I mean,
the Duke and North Carolina A&T game.
A&T game. I think Duke can win this game, but A&T will challenge them with their speed though, because I think they're a little bit faster on the outside with their receivers, and I think that will give Duke's defense a little bit true test of what they can really do. We know what they can do up front, but when the ball's in the air, I think this would be a good game to test that defense.
Well, right now the advantage goes to Duke at the quarterback position. The advantage goes to A&T, North Carolina A&T in the running game, and it goes back to the wide receiver and Calhoun. Calhoun is the returning guy who's the speedster, who's the all ACC for Duke at wide receiver spots. He gives people problems. He has 12 receptions for 198 yards, but no touchdown. But he does give them capability of big plays at any time during the game. But how do they roll their coverage? Because right now, if you cover him up, Duke has another wide receiver that's coming into his own. How does AT&T, North Carolina AT&T, the Aggies stop this passing attack for Duke?
Yeah, that's the thing. We know what Duke defense can do, but Duke's offense, this could be a good test for them as well, seeing a different look as far as North Carolina A&T coming into this game. So I would kind of stick with the game plan a little bit if I was Duke, but in a way, I would try to have that one or two plays for let's do this for that surprise hitch.
And if you look at it, this too, what's at stake? Duke's Mike Elk is off to an unbeaten start for the first time head coach, including last week's win against Northwestern of the Big Ten Conference. That has built some momentum and energy around the program. The team has sold out. According to their website, Duke has sold out Wallace Wade Stadium for the first time since 2018 against the North Carolina Aggies. How does Duke crowd? That's kind of a mixture of what people are saying about Duke fans are not really around North Carolina. But I think with a full out stadium here tonight, I could have put some pressure on North Carolina A&T. But this North Carolina A&T, like you said, is not going to be a pushover team from the HBU type system here. So North Carolina A&T's defense against Duke's offense hasn't been as easy a start for the Aggies, who lost to North Carolina Central in the Duke Mayo Classic, and then lost to North Dakota State, the number one ranked team in the championship subdivision. That unit faces Duke, who averaging 480.5 yards through the first two games behind quarterback Riley Leonard. So we know what the defense of North Carolina A&T is going to have to face here today. They know that their passing game is the weakest part of their defense, but can they get pressure on the freshman quarterback and Riley Leonard?
See, I think it comes out with a lot of speed. Being an HBCU, I would utilize what I'm there for, my speed ability. Now, can that offensive line create space and opportunity for the run plays? That remains to be the factor to be seen. That could be the most challenging point for A&T coming to this situation. But when you have these matchups with HBCU teams, everybody's looking for the opportunity. Where can it come in for either school? I think the opportunity could come with A&T is the speed set with the quarterback position. With Duke, I think it could really come with challenging their secondary in this game to see how tough the secondary really is. Those right there, I can see the two hitting points for both sides that one could use as an advantage and one could use as a focal point.
And then if you look at it too, North Carolina A&T linebacker comes into play here. They got to have to block him. Jacob Robertson's a preseason all-conference pick at 6 double-figure tackles in his career, including a career best 16 last year against Kennesaw State. Duke wide receiver / quarterback Jordan Moore is getting more confident as a thrive at wide receiver after battling for the starting quarterback job in the preseason. He has had a touchdown grab in each one of the first two games, but he also ran a trick play last week with him throwing the ball. So did they give that trick play out too early in the season, but showing that they're going to give him the chance to throw the ball down the field on a wide receiver's pass?
No, I don't think they gave it away too early. I really don't think so. I mean, because you call that play based on the defense that you see. You don't just call it like a video game like Madden. You call your plays based on the defense that you're seeing sometimes. You make your adjustments if they have the play. If you have the play called, you think that defense is going to defend it, that's when you audible out of that shit and call something new. So it could be an advantage point for that. But no, I don't think that's in the repertoire to call that play today. But if the opportunity is there, of course.
And if you look at it, this North Carolina A&T is 0-4 against Atlantic Coast Conference teams in their history. With a TD on his first drive last week, Duke improves to 12-1 when they reached the end zone on his opening series, dating back to 2017 season. The two previous meetings has been decided by similar scores, with Duke winning 45-13 in 2019, 45-17. Duke put up another 45 points against them.
Yes, this would be a high-scoring basketball score, Duke-style basketball. They would definitely put up some points today. Definitely.
And I agree with this. Duke is favored by 96.9% to 3.1% chance for them in the power index. I agree with that. Like I said, the advantage goes to the passing game, goes to Duke. The rushing game goes to North Carolina A&T, and the receiving core goes to Duke. So that's going to be an advantage here, and it's going to be a part of a fast-paced game thing. But if you look at it too here, in their last 5 games, as the results here is, It's very unstensibly here. If you look at North Carolina AT, they have lost 3 straight since going back to November 20th of 2021. They lost Garden Webb. They lost to North Carolina Central this year, and they lost to North Dakota State. Duke's last 5 games has changed dramatically. Duke last loss comes against Miami in 11/27, 2021. They have now beaten Temple, and they have beaten Northwestern. They have out of the last 5 games, they're 2-3. So they're still under 500. They could go 3-3 here. So, like I said, this is the first time Duke has been sold out since 2018. So you got Duke going in. You got Duke winning this ball game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got Duke winning this game, even though I'm lucky to pick them. But I think Duke's a better team than North Carolina AT&T on this day. All right, let's go keep on with the rapid fire here. We got a few minutes here. We got 15 minutes to go to get through the rest of these games here. Campbell at East Carolina. Who you have for this game?
East Carolina Pirates, baby.
I'd have East Carolina too. Campbell coming out of Benson, North Carolina area. This is the Battle of the Carolinas down 95. This is the Battle of the 95 corridor here in North Carolina. Toledo versus number 3 Ohio State. Who you have?
Ohio State University.
Yeah, I got the Ohio State. I think the offense is going to overmatch, and the defense is coming around on a null. Arkansas Pine Bluff versus at number 8 Oklahoma State, who came off the victory against Arizona State last week. Who do you have?
Give me OK State Cowboys.
I got them too. Missouri State goes into number 10 Arkansas. Who you have?
Arkansas, baby.
Akron goes into Rocky Top up in Tennessee, number 15 Tennessee, who beat Pitt last week in a great game that was last week. Does Tennessee open it up against Akron State? Oh, not me, Akron State. No, Akron. I mean, I can't say it. They're playing Akron.
I got Tennessee winning this. Tennessee showed me something last week. Speed.
They had
that dog in them last week. Old Philip Farmer looking days.
All right, Texas Tech at North Carolina State. This is the battle of the This is the battle here of the Big 12.
Give me Texas Tech, the Red Raiders.
So they're gonna go into Carlin Filling Stadium. You said they're gonna pull the upset.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with North Carolina. I can't do it. North Carolina State's a little bit stronger than Carlin Filling Stadium, but I think it's gonna be a close game than what people expect. I'm going with NC State on this one. So you State fans let me down and make me lose this game, and he picks up a game on me. Shame on y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville State. Deion Sanders against Tulsa. Who do you have?
Jacksonville State against Tulsa?
Yep.
Give me Tulsa.
You going to take Tulsa over primetime?
Yep. Oh, but
I'm going to go.
You say Jackson State or Jacksonville State?
Jacksonville State.
That's not prime.
Oh, okay. Wrong state. Wrong thing. So, yeah, I get Tulsa on that one. I forgot he's at Jackson State, not Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Northwestern State versus Southern Miss.
I can't go with Southern Miss after what broke this week. So
you're going with Northwestern State?
Yeah, I'm going Mississippi State, but I can't go with Southern Miss. The hell with them.
All right, Northwestern State, I got them too. So Arkansas State versus Memphis.
Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis. Got them?
Memphis.
I got Memphis too on this one. Charlotte at Georgia State.
Give me them 49ers in Charlotte. I'm going to roll with them again.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going with Georgia State. Georgia State proves something that their defense is strong. Their offense is there once he gets rolling. They hang with North Carolina all the way up to the end. So I give that advantage because they are playing in former field known as Turner Field. So they're playing at home. Tennessee State against Middle Tennessee. The Battle of Tennessee.
I couldn't find that in your Apple Music library. You can ask me to play a radio station or ask for your music on a different app.
That's fine.
Tennessee State and who?
Tennessee State and Middle Tennessee.
Tennessee State.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go Middle Tennessee on this one. So that might be a game you could pick up too. Number 11, Michigan State goes into Washington. The Huskies in Seattle, Tacoma.
Spartans. Michigan State spotty. And we know how I feel about Michigan State football team, but I'm picking them today.
Yeah, I got Michigan going in and taking care of Washington. Now, boy, this is your game. South Florida goes into Gainesville, the Swamp, which they are no longer undefeated at home this season. Anthony Richardson, the quarterback for the Gators, we talked about him earlier today. Do you see your boys pulling out a victory, or does Southern Florida comes out of Tampa, comes up to Gainesville, up the 75 corridor, and beats the Gators today? How's your feelings right now as a Gator fan?
As a Gator fan, I do not feel like this is a good game to rebound from. This team, USF, is really fast team on the outside. They're not afraid of us. They're not fearful of us. I don't know if you know about Florida football. I don't care what level of football. Nobody fears nobody. It's more of a challenge each and every time, but it never stops. So a lot of these kids know each other. They know each other's tendencies. They haven't changed. This is a very, very winnable game for USF. And I don't feel good offensively as a Florida football fan. But I'm going to pick my Gators to win this game by a very, very narrow margin. It will be a defensive-offensive win. The defense must play like the offense. I don't believe in the offense. The offense has to actually drive down the field without the officials' help and show me you can put together a winning drive. Show me you know how to play quarterback, because I'm still not convinced that wherever Anthony Richardson came from, his coaches did not prepare him to play the role of quarterback, and it's too fucking late to coach him how to play the position now.
Now, my question to you is, looking at the stats between the two quarterbacks for University of Southern Florida and Florida, the edge goes to Southern Florida at quarterback by a slight edge, because they both got similar numbers: 34 out of 58, 391 yards, 2 interceptions for Bohannon for South Florida. Anthony Richardson is 31 out of 59, 311 yards with 2 interceptions. So they both have no touchdowns to throw as a quarterback. So I give that an even kill between the two teams. The running game, I give advantage to Florida. And Johnson Jr. at 19 carries for 137 yards and 1 touchdown. But they also have Travis Etienne's brother. But I don't know the injury situation. They have some injuries that are going to be facilitate here today. Some players are game time decisions for Florida. No, they haven't given it out. They should be giving them out here soon, because I think the injury updates for the 3:30 game, or what time is this game? This is a 7:30 game. The 7:30 game injury report should be done by 3:30. I have to give them in 3 hours before game time. So around before 3:30, we'll find out what injury players that Florida will have at the time out. I do give the wide receiver battle to Xavier Weaver over Purcell of Florida. Weaver is 12 receptions for 170 yards, but no touchdown. And Purcell for Florida has 6 receptions for 106 yards, no touchdown. So, my friend, are you going to take your Gators in this ball game?
Here's what I know for a fact is going to try to happen today. Florida coaching staff, offensive coordinator, and quarterback coach, and Anthony Richardson all got together this weekend and listened to everybody negative thought about his throwing style, his lack of being a quarterback. Now they're going to come out with more passing plays. And I think that's really going to open up the wrong can of information that we need to do. If he comes out option, run, throw, short passes, we can win this game. But if they come to show us that he want to stand in the pocket and throw outside of the pocket, we're not going to win this ball game. But as I said, I'm picking my Florida football Gators to win this game by less than 6 points.
I had the Gators winning this game too. I think Richardson, every other game, Richardson is good. As of right now, he was good the first week, bad the second week. I think the odd weeks is his number today. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. Number 23, Pittsburgh get back on the winning track against Western Michigan today. Who do you have?
If Pitt realizes it is 2022, they can win some damn football games. They think it's 2019, 2020, and 2021. Will somebody wake up the Pitt crew? goodness, man. What the hell, Ray? What's going on in that program? Jeez.
Well, I think they're going back to the time when they had Tony Dorsett running the football, and then you had Dan Marino, passing the ball. So they have a little bit of mixture of both. And like you said, their offense is a little stale. And Pete Parducci goes back to the state of Michigan, where he coached at Michigan State as a defensive coordinator. But they're going to Western Michigan today, and they're playing up in Michigan. Does Western Michigan have a chance of winning this ball game today?
I mean, everybody has a chance, Coach. But if Pitt wakes up and realize, guys, we haven't been shit since we begged for College Game Day to come here. They haven't done nothing since College Game Day went there. Haven't done nothing that has solidified a conversation for the way that the Pitt crowd has been acting. They have Desmond Tutu Howard and myself looking like we don't know what we're talking about on the odds that we had Pitt with record should be right now. They're not playing Pitt football. Pitt better wake up and play football today. I don't think.
If you look at this game, the advantage of quarterback, if Slavas plays, is going to be Pitt. But the backup quarterback, who played pretty good against Tennessee, coming in on the end after the injury against Slavas had that injury. We don't know the status of him today. But the advantage right now, if Slavas does play, is going to go to Pitt. The running game goes to Pitt. By slim and none, because the running back has 28 carries for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. The other running back the running back goes to Western Michigan. He has 28 carries for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns, but it's a slim. It's pretty much even at 33 carries and 169 yards for the Pitt guy in Kenya. And then your wide receiving core, the advantage will go to Pitt on that with number 10 reception by Wayne, 171 yards and 1 touchdown. And Kromas is not far behind. He has 15 receptions, 143 yards and 1 touchdown. So, I mean, to look at it, it's pretty much even. I'm going to go with Pitt in this one. And you're going to go with Pitt also?
Yeah.
So we both got Pitt in this one. Nevada, who lost to that unknown team that we talked about last week, they play Iowa. Who are you going with in this ball game?
Iowa and who?
Nevada, who lost to that incarnate world or something like that. That unknown team.
They lose the incarnate word. Let me get Iowa in this. I'm taking Iowa. I'll wave it.
I think the Iowa defense is better, but that's going to be a low scoring game. I think Iowa wins 7-0. SMU against Maryland, not Maryland, but yeah, I don't know if that's Maryland or that's Maryland.
Maryland, the Terps.
Yeah, let me make sure. Let me make sure, because I might have left out the D on this one.
I think you left out the D.
I think so. Let me see. I think I left the D out on this one here. SMU. Let me get down to where it's at here. I'm gonna make sure it's Maryland. I want to verify, make sure I didn't leave. I left the D out on this one, I think. Let me see here. I'm trying to find them real quick here. Yeah, it is Maryland. I left the D out. So they're playing the Terps.
Yep. I'm going with Fear the Turtle, Maryland.
Yeah, I don't know why they got rid of Bird Stadium as their name. I really didn't. I'm like a history guy, but you're gonna go with Maryland. And this is up in Maryland area. I'm going to still call it Bird Stadium. I don't like the new name of the stadium. I'm going to still call it Bird because I'm the old kind of school guy. They're playing at I don't like teams changing names of the stadium, but they call it the Maryland Stadium. They call it just Maryland Stadium now.
They looking for a sponsor. That's what that means.
Yeah. They didn't call it Bird Stadium no more. But I think SMU does go into Maryland, and I think SMU does come out with a victory. So I'm going to go with SMU on this one. I think that's what my – does Boston College get back on the winning track against Maine? Maine goes into Boston College at Chestnut Hill today at 7:30 on ESPN. Who do you have winning this ball game?
I've been to Chestnut Hill, so I'm going with Boston College. Boston. From Boston.
All right, we got to speed this up because we less than a minute before kickoff. We already got the Virginia Tech kickoff was already started on the ACC channel. UCF against Florida Atlantic. Who you have?
UCF, baby.
Yeah, I have UCF too. Louisiana versus Rice.
That La Tech.
No, it's just Louisiana. University of Louisiana.
Give me Rice.
You gotta take Rice. I'm gonna take Rice also in this one. UTSA versus number 21 Texas.
Give me Texas.
I'm gonna take Texas also in this one.
Show me endowment money.
Montana State versus Oregon State.
Give me Oregon State Beavers.
I got Oregon State on this one. UTEP versus New Mexico.
UTEP.
Yeah, I got UTEP in this one also. Number 13 Miami versus Texas A&M. Who you have?
Oh man. Give me A&M, man. Give me A&M. Give me A&M.
I'll have A&M on this one too. I think A&M is mad and pissed off, but they did make a quarterback change in this one for A&M. So let's see how this turns out to them. San Diego State goes into number 14 Utah.
Utah.
I got Utah also in this one. Fresno State goes into number 7 USC.
USC.
I take USC also. Lincoln Riley. North Dakota State goes into Arizona. Who you have?
Arizona.
You have Arizona. I'm gonna pull the upset on this one here. I think North Dakota State pulls the upset on this one. Eastern Michigan at Arizona State.
Arizona State.
I think Arizona State at home is going to be the thing, and Duquesne at Hawaii. Who you have?
808 in the building, baby. Give me Hawaii all day.
I think Hawaii gets their first win. That game is at 11:59, but no TV has been signed to that. So we have all the games picked. We did it. We went 1 minute over overtime. I hope everybody enjoyed today's game. I hope you have a good time with your Gators. We will be watching those things, and I will be telling Cass. And maybe you can pick up these 6 games on here on some of these games that we have just between each other. So
Tar Heels, man. Good luck to your Tar Heels.
Tar Heels on a bye week to do this week. Next week is when they play Notre Dame. We got 2 weeks to get ready for Notre Dame. So.
Oh, what if Notre Dame lose today?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a battle there. So you can enjoy the game, get you some beer, get you some Crown. Enjoy the game, man. Peace out.
All right, Ray. Until next week. See you.
Next week.
Thanks to nigga.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports all plays.